I went to this event at the White House, and there was a receiving line, and I shook hands with the president and with you, and we're all sitting, I believe, I could be wrong, but I think we were sitting outside or someplace that seemed like it was sort of outside. Beautiful night. What a great occasion. I'm so aware. And then at some point, you're walking sort of from table to table saying hi to people, and you're a kid, and you walked over to our table. And we all said, "Oh, hi, Chelsea, how are you?" And I didn't know who we were, but you were very nice. And you said, "Yeah, I was trying to do my homework upstairs, and there's all this noise, but this happens whenever they have state dinners, and it's hard to concentrate." And my mind exploded. And I think you also said you had tried to practice an instrument. I think you had an instrument to some.
It's possible.
And you were like, some impractical instrument like a xylophone or something. And you were like, "I'm upstairs and I'm trying to do this, but state dinners." And I just thought,
I'm a terrible actress, Conan, so it's just whatever is in my head does it to come out of my mouth.
What I love, first of all, everybody at the table loved it, and I've never forgotten it. And I thought, my first thought was, your parents are doing a good job. I don't know much, but your parents are doing a really good job because you are a kid. And you're a kid who's living in the White House, whose attitude is, I'm trying to get this stuff done, and this is annoying because the Prime Minister of Ireland is here, and all these Irish people. And
Don't they know I have a test tomorrow?
I have a test tomorrow, and I really thought
back to being so nerdy that I was like, if this is going to take my grade from A to B, that's just not acceptable.
Exactly, yeah. And you probably and I'm talking to this guy who's on, at 12:30 at night? Who even watches then? Who are you? What happened to Letterman, And I was like...
You're giving me too many cool points.
Okay, well, whatever.
Too many cool points.
But anyway, I was very impressed
sorry,
that...
I was so...
No, you were great.
Homework and instrument focused.
No, I guess the point I was making is I saw this snapshot of, this is a...
Tried to be normal.
Family who is normalizing the least normal situation in the world. True. And how do you do that?
It is really hard. But I think, for us, it was an effort, since neither Bill nor I had any kind of... opportunity to live the way a president lives, with people taking care of you and cooking for you and doing all of the stuff that makes a huge house run. So we just were determined to try to make her life as normal as possible. So she
had chores.
She had chores. She had to.
How do you have chores at the White House?
You got to clean your own room.
No, you don't.
Yes, yes, you do. Yes, you do.
And calling in Delta Force.
Yeah, call it. I mean, this child is going to be.
Let's get some Navy SEAls in here to clean this.
No.
There are so many workarounds you could have used, Chelsea, if you wanted to.
But then we also, we said she had to learn how to do things like, wash your own clothes and iron them and learn to cook. And so, because otherwise you could come out of that experience totally warped. Not only warped, just kind of dependent on other people to take care of you. And
who wants to be that?
Yeah. No. Well, I mean,
I'd like to take a shot at it.
It's too late. It's too late.
No, it's not. You have my ability for sloth is unrivaled. I would like to take a shot at it.
Keep trying to get an invitation to the White House, and I can tell you some places to hide. They won't find you for months, and who knows what might come from that.
Great, yeah. If you could, we'll have a talk off mic.
Yeah, okay.
You'll tell me.
Right. Yeah, I don't want everybody to go.
There's a room. Just pull on. It's this Encyclopedia Britannica.
They're what are called safe rooms. Hidden spaces that you wouldn't know are there. So
Great.
I can help you on that.
Okay, thank you very much.
And bring back the Irish to the White House. I mean, really, what is the problem here?
Well, I am Irish, and no, I don't think the Irish should be placed in the White House.
Is there a parallel universe where you're hosting Meet the Press?
I think there should be. But there'd be, like in that Star Trek episode, whenever there's a parallel universe, the people in the other universe have little goatees. Like Spock has a goatee. And, everyone has a slight difference. So I think there's a parallel universe where I host Meet the Press, but I have a little goatee and slightly evil eyebrows.
I thought you were going to give me an answer about your political proclivities and why actually, why you could have pursued that route and, if you could only go back. But no, instead you have a goatee and different eyebrows?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm not going to waste your time with you know.
I mean, do you have a curiosity about that stuff in a way that would?
I do. I have a lot of curiosity. I mean, I think you and I are both curious souls. I think you've asked me as many questions today as I've asked you. Most people are content to let me do all the questioning.
Right.
You are a curious man. I'm a curious man. I think there's an alternate universe where you and I have like a very sophisticated, like Huntley Brinkley. This is a very old reference, kids, but look it up. Kind of show where you and I are dissecting the national discourse every night, and people really admire us.
Right, sure.
But then you're vaguely aware that you have a big movie career in another universe,
and pretty pumped about that. Yeah,
and you're pissed that you're not in that.
Oh, right,
universe.
that I'm not in that one. Yeah, I'm stuck with this goatee.
Yeah, and you have a weird goatee.
Yeah.
And I'm actually happy that I'm in the universe I'm in because I'm getting a break from my family.
This is fascinating. We're both aware of our parallel lives, but one person is happy to be in this other situation, and the other person laments the fact that they're in this body.
I'm happy that I'm in the other universe because my cholesterol is slightly lower there too.
Right.
You know, my cholesterol is like a solid 130.
Right, exactly.
And then in the universe where I'm Conan O'Brien, the talk show host comedian, it's pushing 200.
Right. My hair does better in humidity in the other body, for example.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Again, were you and I to take a long car trip?
Sure.
I think there'd be a few hours where we're the closest of friends.
Sure.
And then I think as we start to get out to the Badlands.
You think we'd make it to the Badlands?
Yes.
I'm flattered.
Thank you.
Honored.
We get to the Badlands. I think I would contrive a way to
are we going west to east or east to west?
East to west is how I would want to do it.
That's flattering. Thank you.
Yeah. We'd get all the way to the Badlands. I'm sorry, the Badlands of Massachusetts.
Oh, got it.
Yeah, there's some desert areas.
It's a bad area.
Western Massachusetts.
Yeah.
There's some. Yeah, it's just not a good neighborhood.
Yeah.
But anyway, I think. I think I might contrive a way to lure you into the woods and
thanks.
Try and end you.
Sure. I think you'd win, but I'd bite.
You're a biter.
Yeah.
It's kind of silly, but if we get one thing out of this, I would love to have your address. Not here on the air, but you are You're a great fellow. I have a lot of admiration for you, and I would like to occasionally write you a stupid note.
Oh, thank you
and
so much.
If that happens,
I will shred it.
You will shred it. My wife, Liza, is here in studio. Little applause, please. You sound like little church mice. And Liza's here because she's been working on a project that I love. This project, and people will say, "Well, you're biased," but make it clear, I am not a fan of my wife's.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we
are.
We don't. I know.
Yeah.
Everyone else is. Everyone I know,
fans.
as Sona loves to say, you're the only. What, your favorite?
My favorite thing about you is Liza.
Yes, there you go.
Yes.
Yeah. And that's the sentiment that I get from most people is they say, you're annoying, but we love your wife. And I'm like, okay. And
fills you with rage.
Fills me with rage because it's my parents that are saying it. But I am thrilled because Liza, welcome, first of all, to our little studio.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Nice to be here.
It's nice to have you.
Not at all weird.
Yeah, not at all. I just love that we can't shout at each other because, there's company here.
Give us a minute.
Yeah, give us 8 seconds.
Sona, I think we should leave.
Yeah. No, Liza, you're here today because you've been working on something that I really love, and I'm excited about it, and very proud as your goofy partner in life that you have made this really cool podcast that we're going to share with people called Significant Others.
That's right.
Yep. I'm so afraid to make a mistake.
Oh,
Why?
You got this, buddy.
What's that?
You got this.
Well, because, later on I might hear about it.
Likewise.
Yeah, exactly.
We're both on absolute
best behavior.
Right now.
Yeah.
I know. This is so fun.
As promised.
Use your I statements. Always say, I feel. Don't accuse anybody of anything. Hug a pillow if you need to. There's water and treats. Okay.
Well, I think that you've made this very cool nonfiction podcast. My favorite podcasts often are that I listen to, because I don't listen to this one. Not a fan of mine, but I love any podcast where I can learn something, whether it's history or literature. And you came up with a very cool idea, which I will throw to you so you can explain what Significant Others is all about.
Basically is about sort of
looking at people who are just outside the spotlight of history, essentially. So I've always been really interested, even before I was married to Conan, about what it was like for people who were married to, the people we read about in history books. So what was it really like to date and be married to President Lincoln, for example? That's sort of the genesis of it. And as I started collecting more and more of them and asking people, is this anything that anyone else would be interested in besides me? Conan was one of the first people to say, absolutely, I would absolutely listen to that, which was, I mean, if you hadn't done that, I don't know if I would have, pursued any of this. So either thank you or it's your fault.
It's my fault. It's my fault.
We'll see.
Yeah, it's your fault.
You cover all these great people and things that I didn't know because I knew about, obviously, I think I knew somewhat about Gandhi. I certainly knew about Lincoln. I thought I knew about Virginia Woolf. And then you find out about these other people in their lives that were pivotal, not always for good, which is fascinating. This is not the story every time of someone who is saving the day in any way, a secret hero. It's both. They help and they don't help, and they influence the whole game, as everyone does. No one is an island. So I've been listening to them. I think I've listened to all of them except...
I think there are a couple that I haven't burdened you with, but no, you've been my first reader of the scripts often and first listener to the scratch tracks, and you're a very good editor. I will say that.
That's nice.
I know.
Yeah.
I know this is like but you guys are like, this is all so civilized.
No.
I want to know about the bad stuff. Is there murder?
Oh, in the podcast?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you meant in our lives.
Oh, is there murder in your life?
I don't help out a lot. I feel very entitled when it comes to like cleaning up the kitchen.
Okay.
I've gotten a little better.
You're much better.
Much better than I used to be.
But it is.
I used to say,
it's a
well, I'm
progression.
done, and now let others handle things, was my declaration at the end of every meal.
Now the dishes end up near the dishwasher. Still not in it.
They're moving closer.
Still not in it, but near it.
They're moving closer.
Okay.
They're moving so much closer.
Progress.
You talk about the Tolstoys, Gandhi, Mary Lincoln, Nabokov's wife Vera, Maya Angelou, and James Baldwin, who I didn't even realize had this incredible connection. Molly Day Thatcher and Ilya Kazan, Virginia Woolf, Dr. Spock. I mean, Gandhi is someone who I don't even think of Gandhi as being in a relationship because he's become such this holy, revered figure that he's almost,
beyond that,
godlike.
And the Gandhi one was one of the only ones that I didn't have in my head before we started. It was actually a suggestion of Nick Liao, who's a Team Coco person. And I'm so grateful for that suggestion because, like you, I was like, he had a wife. There's a national holiday named for her in India, which my friend who voices Kasturba and then also talks to me afterwards about it, grew up knowing basically that was all she knew. So that's interesting too, that like you can even be from the culture and know of the person and still not know anything more. And she was massively important in his life. So there's a lot of my favorite thing like yours is that it's not all good or all bad, that these are really complicated people and complicated relationships. And in this era of sort of re-examining historical heroes, I sort of love that when the re-examination can be incredibly complex and nuanced, and that it's not just, hey, guess what? This guy was secretly an asshole.
Yeah.
Although, guess what? a lot of them were, and it wasn't so
I'm
secret.
Publicly an asshole.
Right, exactly.
And I think that's where I've got everyone fooled. You mentioned that you had someone, a friend, voice. You've got a lot of people voicing things. Nick Offerman is Leo Tolstoy, Megan Mullally, Sophia Tolstoy, Tim Oliphant, Rita Wilson, Jamila Jamil, Darcy Carden, Lisa Kudrow, Paul F. Tompkins. I mean, it's...
we were very lucky.
Yeah.
I called in every possible chit that I could. I don't think anyone's ever going to take our call again. So, again, you're welcome.
Including Gorley.
Yes, including Matt Gorley.
That's right.
Oh, that's right.
That's
Gorley,
right.
what part did you play?
I play a reporter in the Lincoln episode. Isn't that right?
When
Yeah.
you're describing in great detail Mary Lincoln's the shape of her head.
Yeah, it's a really,
weird,
really
right?
misogynistic sort of slam of Lincoln or Mary Lincoln. And
Yep.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And we naturally thought of you.
Yeah.
You were perfect.
I love that they brought you in. Liza brought you in to be the creep.
Yeah.
In the Lincoln episode.
Yeah, I do play a lot of creeps. I'll edit that out.
What was there one thing that you learned that just really shocked you, other than that Gandhi had a wife?
Yeah, that was surprise number one. I mean, there are a lot of really fascinating moments. I don't really want to spoil anything.
Yep.
But one of the
And you didn't know Lincoln was shot.
It's true, guys. I really learned a lot.
Did you know he went to a theater?
It's so
Hey,
crazy.
spoiler, man.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I don't want to. I mean, everything was surprising at a certain point.
Yep.
I think the Dr. Spock episode might be the most surprising to me. A lot of your fans might not even know who he was because he's so
excited
young.
about that because I was raised on that book.
Me too.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's a real generational divide. Like, I bet you could, you know, find the exact number above and under where people do or don't know about him. But
it was a big. Dr. Spock was the
child
care guru.
Yeah, not the Vulcan.
Oh, you know
not
what?
that
We
Spock.
have his book.
Yeah, and it was, I think in the
he was
50s,
beloved.
60s,
The book
70s.
came out in 1946, same year my mother was born.
Wow.
And it revolutionized. There's a great quote by a guy who wrote a profile in Esquire in like 86 when Spock died in 98. So it was like toward the end of his life, but not all the way at the end. And he was like, this had such a profound influence in such a quiet way because it was these articles that he was writing in women's magazines that were lying around, hair salons. And nothing else has affected so quickly and so vastly how the world regards babies and handles them and raises kids. And, so there's all this stuff about, like, he created the hippies, that he was responsible for the me generation. There's been a lot of backlash. The feminists hated him for a while, and then he changed some stuff and got back in their good graces. And meanwhile, his own family was kind of a disaster.
Yeah.
Like,
whenever someone writes here's how to parent a child, it's always
you're asking for trouble.
Yeah, within 10 minutes.
And he
those
actually
kids start killing people.
And he wasn't like he wasn't a big like he didn't have the kind of ego that a lot of experts have. He was very ready to revise what he had written and to collaborate, and he didn't want to own it and be right all the time. But then there's this just point where he couldn't take his own advice. Like there's just, you can't fix what gets put in the hard drive, kind of. So anyway, that one to me is really fascinating.
Who's playing Dr. Spock?
Uncast as of now.
God.
So,
Just to be intentionally confusing.
Can't Leonard Nimoy.
Well, he's passed on. It was just funny to me if we got Zachary Quinto, who plays Spock now,
That's a great idea.
and got
do it
him to play
in the
Dr.
voice.
Spock, but then do a lot of disclaimers up front. Zachary Quinto will be playing Dr. Spock. It's not that dark. We know he plays him. Just I love unnecessarily confusion. I'm going to ruin your podcast.
No, and so his son, one of his sons, said that when Dr. Spock from Star Trek became a thing, he was so relieved because suddenly there was another. When people would see his last name and they would say, "Are you related to Dr. Spock?" And he would, just like, "Oh, I don't want to," because he's then the living test of his dad's, work. Oh, wow. And so when they would say, "Are you related to?"
That's why
Vulcan, he'd be like, "Yes, exactly. That's who I'm related to." So
that's why I root for Conan Gray. The
It's
pop
true.
star. I just want him.
As do our children.
Yeah, exactly. I'm tired of being that Conan.
So let's root
It's
root for Conan Gray.
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Yeah, because I can't take the burden anymore. It's too much.
Yeah.
I feel that same way about the Matt Gorley that's a contractor in Northern California. I can't get out of his shadow.
Well, he's just a really good contractor.
He's going to be playing Dr. Spock.
Yeah.
And that other Tallinn Sonam Obsession, too.
He's great.
Okay, let me make sure I get the word out. Significant Others is available right now. Yeah. It's already out. A new episode of Significant Others drops every Wednesday with bonus episodes the following day. So be sure to subscribe wherever you get your podcast.
Hi, my name is Lizzie Kaplan, and I feel, I've had better about being Conan O'Brien's friend.
Yes! Wow. That was delightful.
I don't know why I love that so much.
I do too.
I do too.
All right, see ya.
Well, I know
Thanks,
you two guys lit up like Christmas trees.
Yeah.
Well, as you're well aware, I've got a bad case with Lizzie Kaplan. She's one of my favorite people of all time. Your work and also just you as a person. I'm just going to start off saying it. We've hung out a little bit on the side, and I just always leave thinking, Jesus Christ, that Lizzie Kaplan is. If there's anyone cooler than this woman, I have not met her. And damn, seriously.
Really?
I absolutely adore you.
Thanks,
and,
Conan.
I know you're going through some stuff right now, and I know your father just passed, which is bizarre because I just went through this with my parents in December. Both of them went at the same time, like it was a suicide pact, which it was not. But it just sounded suspicious in the press. Like my dad went, and then my mom went 2 days later, and it just sounds like, okay, this is a murder, But it wasn't.
Pillow.
Yeah, exactly.
For mom.
Yeah, exactly. But no. So we were chatting a little bit out in the hall, and I said, we don't need to talk about this, but it might be good to talk about because I just went through it. It's so fresh in my mind, the different weird feelings that you feel. So if it helps you at all,
totally,
we can talk about it, and then I'll charge you $350.
Cool, great.
Because that's
actually
the going
a bargain
rate
at this point. Yeah, so I pop my Prozac right before.
I did recognize that pill.
Yeah. Big fan, by the way.
Oh man, keep that Prozac coming.
Yeah,
you guys are doing amazing
work. We have a bowl of it here.
Yeah,
just on the table.
The Coca-Cola is the original.
Interestingly, I don't know if you remember this, but I met your dad.
I do remember.
And I had a very long chat with your father. It was at a party, I believe here in Los Angeles, and you came in afterwards and said, "What were you doing?" And I said, "Oh, me and your dad were just talking." And we talked for a really long time, and you looked aghast. Like, oh my God, what did he do? What did my father say? But I remember him very fondly.
That's really nice. Thanks, Conan. Yeah, he was a very funny man, very strange man. It's wild. It's wild, the whole thing. And I actually kind of wish I brought him around to more parties and more things because people had good experiences with him. But yeah, it's weird. My mom died when I was 13, so I feel as you do, but it's very fresh for you. Like you feel like an orphan even though you're old, and not you. You're very young. Speaking for myself.
No, I know what you're saying because Sona came when my parents passed. Sona and a couple of the other people, not you, Eduardo, came out. Because he had better things to do. No, right. There was a big game that night. It was in Boston, and I didn't expect anyone to come. And so some of the people who I work with flew to Boston be there, which was very nice. It was so funny because I just wanted to make Sona laugh. And so Sona came up to me at some point, and I remember I was just going like, I'm an orphan.
Yeah.
But playing it up for sympathy when I'm a 61-year-old white guy.
A lot of little orphan Annie gifts in the text messages.
Yeah, but it was just absurd. I kept saying like, I don't know where I'm going to sleep tonight. Yeah, you're going to sleep at the Four Seasons Hotel, you fucker. But it was making you laugh, and that was making me happy. But I did feel the same kind of thing, which was just, I guess I'm an orphan, but I don't get to walk around with a big 1920s cap.
Well,
see, this is why I love Lizzie. She's giving me permission.
Don't limit yourself.
You two of you should hop a boxcar.
We should.
As orphans.
We should walk along together. Tour. Two scruffy orphans.
Two scruffy orphans at the Four Seasons
Hotel. Wait a minute. That looks like Lizzie Kaplan and Conan O'Brien. And there's an SUV following them, like 15 feet behind in case they need anything. So anyway.
But yes, I do. I mean, I couldn't even begin to wrap my head around your version of it, which is like the 1-2 punch. But I do think there's something which you will never know, but there's something really kind about it happening that way, that you didn't have to have like the 5 years of looking after your mom without your dad, and that would have been brutal. That's just a good chapter that nobody really needs. But yeah, I just kept thinking like my mom died. It was awful.
And also, you were 13.
I was 13, which is crazy.
Everyone thinks, oh, it would be the worst if you were 2 or 3. And I've read some about this, and it's apparently the worst time is if you're a teenager. That's when it can impact you the most.
Can confirm. It was horrible. Then like every funeral after that never felt as bad, like a grandparent would die, or it never hit as hard, obviously. And then my dad, I just assumed he was 80. He was not well. It wasn't that surprising, even though it kind of was in the moment. But I was so fucked up over it, obviously. But I realized, like, it doesn't even matter if you're 13. It's your parent. Your parents loom so large, whatever your relationship is. And we had a good relationship, but even if you're not speaking to your parent, if they died, like it's coming for you, Conan.
Yes.
It's gonna get you bad. Probably after the Oscars.
I don't feel things. I think we have to get through the Soul Train Awards. And then we had the great Werner Herzog was here. He's helping us out with something in a really lovely way. But he was here, and he's always been very nice to me. And he said, he had heard the news, and he said, Conan, you only have, and he said it in that Werner Herzog voice, one mother and one father. I don't know why that's coming out Irish. What the fuck happened? How did he do it? Someone help me out here. I got to access him.
One mother and one father.
That's
pretty good.
That's it.
Good.
There you go. Thank you. I don't know why I went to the Leprechaun.
Ooh, one mother and one father.
I don't fuck it up. Oh, but you still got Lucky Charms. No, he's like, you have one mother, one father. And I was like, this is not helping.
Especially when coming from him.
Coming from him. And he said, and there is no afterlife. They've descended into a void of meaningless madness and chaos. Thanks, Werner.
Can I say something very quickly? He was here, and obviously we all love him. And Maddie always sets out a basket of snacks and stuff. And so he was standing talking to you and some other people. And before he left, he's like, and now it is time for me to leave. But first, a little treat. And he went over and grabbed like a little thing and took it with him.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
He narrates his regular life like that?
A little treat. It was
and then I will descend again into chaos and madness. Anyway, it is, you're still going through it. And then what's strange is the expectation other people have for you, which is you feel what you feel. And I don't know if it's an Irish quality or what, but I just sort of get through things. And so I've had people that have said, you just must be devastated. And I think, I don't know what I'm feeling. I know that and then I noticed that I had put my watch on upside down and backwards.
You're trying to reverse time.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know what I was doing, but like my belt was on wrong. I was telling everyone, oh, no, these things, well, they lived a long life, and I think they enjoyed themselves, and all was well, and they went peacefully and quietly, and people would say, you just put your pants on over your head and poured gravy into the bathtub. What are you doing?
Yeah, I don't know. I guess it's like it's impossible for me not to just be making constant comparisons to when my mom passed away.
Mm-hmm.
And I had no skills, no tools, I had support, but like 13-year-old friends support, which is not amazing for that situation, like as hard as they all tried. And I just, there were so many years of it just being so hard. And now I realize like, oh, I do actually have support and a therapist and Prozac and, I will be okay. I ended up being okay the last time against the odds because that was crazy.
Right.
So yeah, I definitely am processing it in a much healthier way. I'm letting myself be sad, but that was not easy for me to do as a kid. As a kid, it was just like exactly what you're saying, like keeping it moving, armor. And now it's better. It's better for it to happen now and in this way. But like, it's fucking crazy. It's just crazy. I'm I guess I'm just so sad about it, which feels healthy. I'll take that over angry and confused.
That's a gift to be able to feel sad.
Yeah. Let me tell you.
Yeah.
You should try it.
Please, there's no time. Now, Mattress Firm.
Oh, no.
Don't be the villain in your. Oh, sorry. We'll do that later.
God.
Do you? I even remember the tagline from that stupid, not stupid, terrific mattress.
Hello, my name is Lizzie Kaplan, and I feel confused about being Conan O'Brien's friend.
Okay.
Yeah.
That sounded honest.
It was.
Your confusion. Let's talk about your confusion first.
Confused because I was under the impression that we already were kind of friends. So
No, I thought we were too, and then I checked the paperwork. No.
Oh.
We never got to friend status.
Right. You saw that I just forged like a cat paw print instead of my name in the paperwork.
Well, yes, we should disclose that we have been friendly for a number of years.
Friendly.
And, very friendly, I think. And I have dined recently with you and your just incredible husband, who enrages me with his talent and good looks.
Yeah, he's both those things.
Yes, and he can tell too.
Yeah.
He feels pity for me.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But we also had a really good time. We hung out in England. I was there to interview Ricky Gervais, and you were living there at the time with Tom, and you guys joined up with me, and we ended up having Guinness in a real pub in the northern part of London, I think.
Yeah.
And you ordered a Scotch egg. I'll never forget that.
Did.
Yes. And I thought, what's a Scotch egg? Because I romanticize when people live in a foreign country. That's always something I dream about. So you come into the pub, you're nice enough to meet up with me, you guys. You and Tom come in and you sit down, and then you just seem to be so comfortable, like you had become British. And you ordered a Scotch egg, which I didn't even know what a Scotch egg. Do you know what it is?
Yeah, isn't an egg wrapped in sausage and then fried?
That's correct.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah, I've had a Scotch quail's egg before.
Oh, dainty.
I knew to turn to Gorley for this, because if there's something, anything slightly
give me English
Anglican,
and make it dainty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can tell that you romanticized it because you just called it like a real pub. It's just
more of a real
pub. Yeah,
I know. It
They're
was
everywhere.
a pub. I know. But I get very, I'm nerdy in a lot of ways, but one of my things when I'm walking around in London, I just keep thinking, I'm in London.
Yeah.
Now I'm in a pub in London.
Same.
I'll have a Guinness. I'm drinking the Guinness in London. I'm wearing a tweed cap. I mean, I don't know. I'm so self-conscious.
I feel like that all the time about everything. And only recently do I feel like I'm shedding that thing. Like that I'm not doing commentary about the normal things that people just seem to be doing around me without, thinking too hard about it.
Right.
But we did drink a lot of Guinness that day. In the middle of the day.
I may have had more than you guys.
Yeah, maybe.
You
Maybe. Tom was just saying, he's like, you guys, you drink when you're together, like you and I.
Yeah.
And I don't feel like I drink that much. But when I'm with you, my best friend Lee, then, yeah.
I also think, I could be wrong, but there's something about Guinness that feels like it doesn't count. Like if someone was putting down Scotch or anything like that, I'm not big into spirits, but if it's Guinness, I don't know what it is. I don't feel like it counts.
It's like a meal.
Yeah.
It is. If
Yeah.
someone took a loaf of pumpernickel bread and put it into a paper shredder and then let it sit for a couple of months.
Yeah, it's bread soup.
It's bread soup, and then you drink it.
Yeah.
But we had a very good time, and I have wanted you to be on the podcast for a long time because, and I say this with just right out, you're one of my favorite people. You really are.
Do you say that to everybody that walks in? Please answer for him.
I would say 25% of the people, but I do feel there's sincerity in your voice this time, so I'd put that in the top 5%.
Come on.
I'm serious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think.
Yeah, you're not such.
No, I'm kidding. He really sincerely means it.
Yeah,
and
I'm always, and the other person, my wife knows it. My wife knows that I have Lizzie Kaplan fever, and she's like, yeah, I get it. I totally get it.
Just the fact that you two drink together, he won't drink with us.
Oh, God, no. No. I take a lot of pills when I'm around you, but I don't drink. But
that's just for your hip.
You can take a pill for your head. Wow,
on.
who
You
knew?
can take a pill for anything. This is your first podcast, is that right?
It's my first podcast, and it's already feeling like I've done it wrong.
No.
What are you talking about? Oh, this is. Oh, but you know what I can tell? This is you.
Yeah.
This is you, which is my guess is you don't like to watch yourself do your work.
No, it's very rare that I like that. I like it on Fleischman is in Trouble. I like that. I like watching that.
Which, by the way, I told you this before we started. Fleischman is in trouble with you and Claire Danes and Jesse Eisenberg, and I was binge watching it yesterday, and it got up to 3 episodes, and then it said, you know, we're so spoiled now.
Yeah.
And I am loving it, really loving it. And in this story, I did not read the book, so I'm coming in with no awareness. And it's such a good story, and it's so compelling that it got to the end of the 3rd episode, and they said, yeah, now you have to wait for more. And I became enraged and pulled my flat screen off the wall.
Wow.
And
so strong.
I didn't mean that for that to come out, but with a slight tug of my massive arms, and a bit of a torque of my perfect 6-pack. And I'm just describing what happened. It easily came out of the wall.
Slid right off.
I threw it up into the sky.
Must have been poorly installed.
Yeah.
I like torque of my 6-pack. I've never heard that
It's
before.
it was a slight torque, and just then some photographers were there, and they took beautiful black and white photographs.
Were you oiled at the time?
I was oiled and bare-chested.
Oh, that's
And then I threw the flat screen up into the sky, and it went into the sun.
Whoa.
And just disappeared. But anyway, I love it, and I'm also a fan of your co-stars.
Yes.
Claire Danes is a lovely person, obviously very talented. Jesse Eisenberg, she first came on my show many years ago when he was just starting out, I think for Squid and the Whale. And a couple of days later, a handwritten note showed up on my desk. And I had been doing my talk show at that point for like 15 years. And this handwritten note shows up.
That's adorable.
And from this very nice boy wrote me a beautiful letter thanking me for having him on the show.
That's so nice.
And he had me. He's like, that guy had me. And then a couple of other times I've received a nice Jesse Eisenberg. So Jesse, if you're out there, I need another letter soon.
He is a sweet boy.
He's a really sweet guy.
And now he's a sweet man. 40 years old.
Well, according to Wikipedia, he's 67.
Oh, damn. He is the best guy. I love him.
Just take it easy.
No, he is the best, the funniest, just like a guy in the public eye.
Have you seen him rip a TV off a wall? It's
Bare-chested and oiled?
Unparalleled.
Yeah, I'd like to see Jesse do that.
Yeah.
I guess if the walls were made of oatmeal, it would come right off.
Yay.
What a weird insult. Hey, Jesse, if you're listening, if you had to rip a flat screen off a wall, the wall would have to be made of oatmeal.
It's going to write you a letter about that.
We'll be right back with more insults no one's ever said in the history of mankind. I'm curious because I have not talked to you about this, but to me, you are a very natural talent, and it makes me feel like you must have known you wanted to do this at an early age, but that was not the case. You had other dreams, other schemes.
I mean, now looking back, yes, I was very young when I decided this, but at the time it didn't, because again, grew up in LA, did not have these dreams of actress work. I'm not even going to say stardom. So like being a working actor, didn't think about it. And then, I went to a performing arts high school and I played the piano.
Mm-hmm.
And I used to be pretty good at the piano, but I was never going to be like a pianist. Right?
Let's just watch the language.
Okay, it's all right. And then I quit the piano, and then I needed an elective to stay in the academy. And so I just said, I'll do acting because I don't know how to sing or dance or play the saxophone. So I did that. And then now I do this for a living.
Did you feel like Freaks and Geeks was the first moment where you felt like, oh, this is gelling, or were there experiences before Freaks and Geeks?
That was my first experience. That was the first thing.
You hadn't done like a commercial?
Nothing.
Okay.
My first thing was one line on Freaks and Geeks opposite Ben Foster, who was amazing in the show. Like everybody in that show was amazing.
Yeah.
And I had to go through, like periodically I have to go through this big box of old photos, usually like for set decoration for whatever I'm working on. They always want to, like put your own family photos and photos of you when you're a little kid up. So I go through this box and I found this photo that I hadn't seen forever. And it was the day that I had done this job, this Freaks and Geeks, one day of work, first day ever. And I remember this moment. I remember sitting there like talking to my dad and his girlfriend and being like, it was so crazy. There was somebody. So I'd never even been on a set. And it's like, you stand on this thing, and it's like a piece of paper or a tape, and they call it a mark. And I was eating a banana, and then it was time for us to shoot the thing. And somebody came and just held my banana for me, and then like gave it back to me. And then somebody else did that with my jacket. And it was like, it blew, every part of it completely blew my mind. And now I'm just jaded as hell.
Yeah.
I'm like, why am I holding my own fucking banana?
Where's our banana holder?
It's really.
Lizzie's locked herself in her trailer. She won't come out. Where's my fucking banana holder? Fucking ringling circles you're running here. It's sweet that you say that, because I am still very in touch with when I first got started. And again, this is, you were a baby when this happened, but my writing partner, Greg Daniels, and I came out to LA, and we had our first job right out of college working on a show on HBO called Not Necessarily the News. And they showed us where our desks were going to be. Like, here's where you work. You'll have desks we had desks that faced each other like bankers. And you're going to sit in this room and pump out, just write gags on these typewriters.
I'm sorry, what year was this?
1985. This is September 1985. And yeah, it's typewriters.
That's crazy.
And so the first thing they showed us our office, and they said, oh, and by the way, this here is the snack room. So, and it was a room that was just, had like, popcorn, potato chips, sodas, cookies, junk food.
Snacks?
Snacks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Could you actually list a few more snacks? I'm not.
A Cracker Jack, say, which would be a popcorn with caramel.
I get it.
A Snickers bar. Anyway, Greg Daniels, who went on to, do The American Office and, a million other shows, and Parks and Rec, and I'm going to list all of his shows now, and more snacks.
Yeah.
No, Greg he went there and he came back and he had a paper plate and it had some potato chips and cookies and stuff on it. And he was like, we get to have this. Now, keep in mind, he's 22, I'm 22. And he's like, we get to have this. I don't think we have to pay. And he'd like eat them and then he'd go, I'll be right back. And it was the pure joy.
Totally.
Which, and now here we are a million years later, but I still remember the joy of, I'm sorry, when I was at Saturday Night Live at the craft service table. So we can have this? And do we have to sign for it?
Right.
No, that's a craft service table.
Anybody that comes to visit, that's the thing that blows their mind the most. It takes you back to those moments. But I feel that way about like an office supply closet with like pens.
Yes.
And like Post-its. You just take as many as you want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And you sometimes think, and to this day, if I grab a cup, this is my, podcast company building.
Yeah.
But if I grabbed a couple of my favorite pens, we all know what they are. The Pilot Precise Grip.
What are they?
Oh, God.
And anyway, but you know what I mean? There's a part of me that thinks I might get stopped on the way out the door.
Yeah, and you make us pay for snacks. So this is
I
fair.
went and I bought one of those 1940s, those machines that dispense sandwiches. And
Automat?
And so I installed an automat.
Of course you know what it's called.
And
What the fuck?
if people want toilet paper, they have to put in, and you have to find nickels and dimes from the 1950s.
Such a fun office.
Yeah.
Oh, it's terrific. I know that you did all these different projects. Then Mean Girls comes along.
Yes, and there was a lot of,
because there was a lot that happened before Mean Girls. You were known.
Ish. Definitely like Freaks and Geeks, while it was like a mind-blowing experience just because it was also new. I didn't like feel connected to anything. It was just all overwhelming.
Right.
It wasn't fun. It was just like, I can't believe I'm doing this.
Yeah.
And I did a few episodes of it, and every episode felt like that. And then sometimes I think like that some actors only have that experience. Like they only have, people were sort of nice and it was fine, but I didn't like bond with anybody and I didn't become like homies with the makeup. Like they don't have the full experience. Well, what I consider to be the full experience. And I think it would be a really bad job if you only got that version of it.
Right.
Because so much of it is like you build these really intense relationships with so many people throughout, every job. And maybe you keep like one or two friends as you move on. But like it is, I couldn't work in an office thing is I couldn't imagine not having that like full on, we are related to each other, we are in love with each other, and now I'll never see you again. I need that weird
right.
shit.
It's like being in, I shouldn't say this, but it's akin in some way to being in the trenches with some people. Like it feels like we're in this, we got to make this work together. And then these bonds form. And it is silly because I realize I'm describing making television shows and making sketch comedy, or in your case, making movies and making TV shows. But it is similar when the greatest part of it is we're all in this together. This show is in half an hour. We got to do this. We're scared, but we're also excited. And you go through that for a number of years. And when I see writers and people I've worked with over the years in the 90s and 2000s and all, and I get emotional.
I know.
Because I think you were there with me. We went through some crazy stuff.
Yeah.
It still feels that way.
Totally. And it's like a lot of the fires that you're putting out, let's say, right before going on and doing your show, like it's something that you can't really fully explain to anybody else who isn't there, who isn't like boots on the ground.
Yep.
And so it bonds you. And then like the abrupt goodbye, it took me, I guess that's the one difference is like you did the same show forever. You stuck around with these people. But for me, it was like you have these experiences and then you really do like depart this family. And I don't know a single actor, certainly not any that I'm friends with, that don't have like severe abandonment issues. And like we just go and do this to ourselves all the time. Like it's wild.
It's funny. We always choose the thing that we fear most. As a kid, and it's documented because I would talk about it, and I actually wrote the writer E.B. White a letter telling him I wanted to do something and maybe be a writer, but that I was very afraid of criticism, and he wrote me back. And this is in 1980, so what am I, like 16 years old? And I know that my nightmare was, what's the thing I care about the most? Being funny. What would terrify me the most? To be up in front of people trying to be funny and have it not work. I would rather be burned with acid than have that happen. What did I choose to do?
Yeah. Yeah, but isn't that impressive that you did that with your life? Like you faced the thing that scared you. And yeah, you always have to like put it in context. Like, no, it's not as impressive as like X, Y, and Z. We're just entertainers. We're pieces of shit.
Exactly.
Don't worry. We hate ourselves. Like, but it is like, we're like facing the thing that's scary.
So you said, and do you think this is something that is true of you and other actors is abandonment issues?
Yeah. That's been my experience for sure.
Right.
And then...
Is it something you had your whole life?
Yes. I know my mom died and that's when it happened. And
you were quite young, I think.
13, yeah.
Yeah, damn.
But then like you see all these, and I think it was especially painful at the beginning because when you're doing, especially like young people, high school things, for example, when I did a bunch of those, there's this whole social element to it. I'm very happy to have graduated from this, to be honest. I aged out of it. Because it used to be like, okay, we're in Canada for 2 months and we're going to work together, but we're also going to be best friends and we have to go out every single night together. And if you don't go out, then you're left out. And it's like this whole social element to it, which is exhausting. And then you're convinced you're going to be best friends forever. And you never are. Like you put those relationships, you like put them in the real world and they fizzle and die, except for like maybe one or two. Mm-hmm. And the same thing with like romantic relationships. Like this is true love. You have to like learn that a few times. I think that's a pretty universal thing. Like then as soon as you're like not living in a hotel room with like nothing, no responsibilities whatsoever.
No distractions.
Nothing. But the people I know who still hold on to that, and there are very few now that we're grown-ups and people have families and stuff, but like it's never going to be the same. You accept that it's never going to be the same. It was interesting with Fleischman because Taffy, who wrote the book and the show, it was her first experience doing a television show. And she's experiencing all of that for the first time. Like on the last day of work, like how emotional that was, last day of shooting. Like, but then what happens? And how do we stay close? And
how do we keep this going?
Yeah.
Is often the refrain.
Yeah.
Is this was an amazing experience. We all came together and we did this.
Yep.
And then the sight that always made me sad is, all the times that we traveled our show anywhere, there'd be these, a week of shows in San Francisco, amazing set built that recreates the Golden Gate Bridge, and I can come out and walk on it and enter the, and we do a week of shows there and remotes, and we're up all night and it's adventures. And the minute the show's over and you do the last one, they start tearing it all apart.
That's brutal.
And throwing it into trucks and driving it back to New York City. And that happened, I saw that happen like 25 times with different shows that we traveled to different parts of the country. And I was bereft. I was in shock. Like, no, we just like touched the face of God, just had this amazing experience together, and then it's just done. So I know what you're talking about.
It's a horrible feeling, but you do get used to it. It's like a callus forms. And so for Taffy, seeing it with her for the first time, and I just had to be like, it's not going to continue. This is it. Like, as bad as it feels now, it's not going to feel better. You're just going to maybe have another fun experience, hopefully in the future, but like, this is dead and over. Like, there's nothing that I can say to you other than the truth, which is like, it feels bad. But most of us have been doing this for so long, we're used to the feeling. And so
couldn't you lie to her just a little bit?
No. It's like, this is it. You've peaked. Sorry.
How is Taffy now? Is she okay?
Yeah, but there's still, we're still in it, like especially with this rollout, like the old school week by week episodes coming out. It's still happening, but not for much longer. For a few more weeks, then I'll call her and be like, now it's really over. So it sucks. Like, I do feel for her. And the premiere was in New York, and for many reasons, it was such a celebration. Like, it felt the first time, like truly post pandemic. Like, it was in Carnegie Hall and at Tavern on the Green, and I hadn't been to a big premiere in so long. And she kept saying, like, it's like my bat mitzvah. And it really was the happiest night of her life. And it was so fun. It was genuinely fun. And those premiere parties are never fun. Like, they're always just kind of work. And I'm always in her ear like, they're never fun like this, It's probably never going to be fun like this again. The whole time on set.
It's good to have you around. You're all right. I like it.
I know.
What do you like on the holidays?
Right. This is probably our last Christmas as a family.
The tree was a pagan symbol.
But it is, Fleischman was one of those lucky things where like everybody in the cast was nice. Everybody came like very prepared. All these things that don't happen every time. Everybody bonded. It really felt like a family, and everybody says that, and it rarely actually feels like a family. But this did, to the point where Taffy gave a speech at the premiere, and she said she thanked her sons and her husband Claude at the end. And everybody, the thunderous applause for Claude, because everybody in that room knew, like, we took your wife away and you had to hold it down. And like, the first time you do a show, I can't imagine anything crazier. And everybody knew Claude, and everybody knew how he stepped up in the greatest way. And everybody, it felt like genuinely like the warmth in the room for this show. I have never experienced anything like that. And I think it is because of Taffy coming in all green and bright-eyed and like, this is amazing. And it's nice to have somebody remind you like, oh, actually, this is amazing.
Yeah, it is my experience. I saw it at SNL when I'd been there for a while and was really still blown away by it. But I'll never forget when Adam Sandler showed up for the first time as a kid. All he kept doing was coming by and going like, oh, this is the best. This is the best. Oh my God, did you, and again, that same kind of thing, like, these snacks are free. And I thought, I've always been drawn to that energy. I love that energy because I think the biggest challenge, and I'm not just talking about show business, I mean in any career, the biggest challenge is, how do I stay young? And I don't mean how do I look young, but how do I just keep that sense of, wow, this is fun?
Yeah.
Which is, you have to work at it. It's like stomach crunches or something. You just have to do it.
You really keep bringing up them abs.
Yeah.
I don't think you've.
We get it.
Let's see them.
Wonderful abs.
There we go.
Slurp,
Slorp, blurp, blarp. The sound blarp isn't heard much, but when I take my shirt off, you'll hear 3 blarps as different chunks of abdominal fat settle down by my ass.
Oh, wow.
Oh, come on.
Oh, wow.
Ladies out there, you getting hot?
How does your abdominal fat get to your ass?
Yeah.
It falls.
Yeah.
So it's back abdominal?
It's like
No,
pendulum swings back
Thank you.
betwixt the legs.
Thank you.
Oh,
yeah.
whoa.
Thank
I
you.
know. It happens.
Lizzie saw me come out of the ocean, and she
I
saw it
saw.
happen.
So it's like you're like swing dancing with your body
That's
fat.
a beautiful way
Yes,
to think
yes.
about it.
think
It's
we're
like
good.
that Berlin film Swing Dance, which is all about people. German. What an improbable film. I think it takes place like during World War II, and there are Nazis, but Germans are swing dancing. You're like, no.
Yeah.
You're impressive swing dancers, but maybe oppose this regime.
Swing Kids.
Swing Kids.
Yeah, I remember that movie.
Oh, I remember that.
Actually,
And then
that's
in
a
the-
reference I got.
Yeah, and then in the end, Hitler's driving by in a Mercedes-Benz, and he hears the swing music, and he goes in and he sees them all, and he decides to be a better person.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
Dance. God bless dance.
Yeah. It'll save us all.
It will.
Going through what you're going through with the loss of your dad, I found, and I know that Sona's been through so much lately, lost her home but I remember talking to you right after you lost your house in the fire, and you were saying like, I've got these Mikey and Charlie, and they need me present. They were kind of saving your ass because
definitely
you can't say to them, Mama's going to just be depressed and weirded out for 2 years. I'll see you then.
Yeah. I'm not going to be like, I'm in a bed just crying all day.
Yeah.
So, and then they're ready to continue on. And so you're ready to continue on.
Absolutely.
And it's like the best medicine.
It really is. And it like gets
like
you out of it.
Prozac.
Totally. They're
Yeah.
like little Prozacs.
Yeah, they are.
Little sweet Prozacs. But yeah, it's amazing. Even if you're in a bad mood, like a normal bad mood, and you go in and see your kids, like, unless you want to have them, when they're talking to their therapist or writing their memoir later, be like, mother was sad all the time. She took it all out on me. She would kick the dishwasher and then ignore me for 2 days. Like, we're not going to do that.
No.
We're like not those people. My best friend lives in Altadena. I'm so sorry you lost. That's like unbelievable. And watching her, she has a 6-year-old, and their house did not burn down. But they're totally displaced, and they have to live in the back house of a friend from school's and like it's actually turning out to be kind of a great situation for now. But what if she didn't have this little girl to like get to school and not be a husk of a human? Like I don't know.
Yeah.
I realize now because I had my kid kind of late, like how much time you just spend like wallowing in your own shit, and then you don't get to do that anymore, and it like rips you out of it. It's a wonderful thing. Is this the funniest episode of this?
Am I wrong that I love this episode?
Yeah, me too.
I mean, Eduardo is the line. You're the line judge on these things, but
this is right up my alley.
because like this is, excuse us for having a conversation.
Oh, wow.
Chuckles over here.
I know.
If you
the
want me
life of the party these days.
No, but what this is, I don't know, it's making me feel a lot better.
Yeah,
it is kind of therapeutic.
It's really therapeutic.
I think everything feels very heavy right now.
For sure.
Even if you're not going through something, things just feel really heavy. It's okay to talk about it.
Yep.
Agreed. I think you have to. And it is like absorbing because I'm from LA. I just moved. Like we sold our house in December and gave the keys to the new owners on January 24th. So like right after the fires. And we were supposed to come back and pack up the house that we've lived in for 11 years and say goodbye to the house and have all these people over.
Where are you
take
moving
the-
to? I'm just
New York, baby.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. That just happened. And like take Alfie to Disneyland and do all this shit. And we couldn't come back because of the fires. And being in New York and watching it, this is my hometown. but I've like talked so much shit about LA and what it means and how it's changed and how it's gotten worse. And you're sensing a theme in my overall personality. But
Do you have more Prozac?
Yeah, I know, right? I got to up it to
it's time for
20
another one.
milligrams. Also, Prozac is new and will recommend, really. Like,
We can do an ad for them.
I'm like, obviously loud and proud about it. Maybe I'll regret this part of it.
No.
So watching it from afar was really strange, and seeing like my hometown go through this and feeling really separate. And I felt like this groundswell of love for LA, which hasn't gone away. And I think this city is amazing. I think Altadena specifically is amazing, like what they're doing. Yeah. And that was like the LA. I didn't grow up in Altadena, but I grew up like in the Miracle Mile. And it was much more that vibe than, let's say, the Palisades vibe, which is its own unimaginable, like, I don't even know, tragedy. But there's something about like the Angelinos who are from here, who aren't in the business, who just like have regular jobs, regular families, and like you're just doing it in LA. Like that was my upbringing. And I have so much love for this city. Mm-hmm. And it was really horrible to be away because all of us like in New York who are from LA kind of huddled together. Because you'd go into, when it was like actively happening or just kind of starting. I like went to get my hair cut. The guy's like, "How you doing?" And I'm like, "Well, not great. Like, LA's on fire." He's like, "Oh yeah, when you're not from LA, when you don't live there, it's just like LA has fires. It's just like another thing that's happening somewhere else. And when it's your home, it's crazy." And so like my dad obviously passing away was brutal, and then I've stuck around for these couple weeks and feeling the sadness of LA has been really intense, but also everybody in New York's like, it reminds us of 9/11. Like people are really coming together and building each other up. And like the community, that was the main kind of complaint I had about LA. Like there's no community, and there so is. And I feel like an asshole for saying that.
I lived in New York when during 9/11, and one of my clearest memories is going out to dinner, and the waitress would come over, the wait person would come over and say, would you guys like to start off with some drinks, or, and we'd say, "Well, how are you?" And then the person would end up sitting down at the table and we would all chat. And I remember thinking, this is this weird Eden that we're all living in, where all the old societal norms have gone out the window and people are really talking to each other. And if you ask the bartender, you ask whoever's, you ask the person in the store, "How are you? Where do you live? How are you doing?" And that happened in New York City. And then I remembered it going away. Humanity just has this way of, if you hit a human being over the head with a big stick, he behaves himself for like 6 hours and then goes back to being whatever he was before. Yeah. And I know that this too shall pass, but it's lovely while it's happening. Yeah. And I'm noticing I just keep having these great conversations with, had to go to Sundance for something. And there was a woman who was driving me to the event in Utah, from Salt Lake to Sundance, and started chatting with her. And it turned out she lived in LA. And I said, "Well, how's your place?" And she said, "Well, my place burned to the ground." And she's driving me.
Crazy.
And we just had this intense conversation, and I thought, well, this is kind of what it's supposed to be all the time.
Exactly.
Which is, how are you? What's going on in your life? Not to drive me, driver.
Yeah.
Where are the Tic Tacs? Which is what I reverted to by the end of the drive.
Oh, you got back there.
Enough of your whining.
Yeah. Oh, your house. Where are my Tic Tacs?
Yeah, he's a spearmint. I wanted the fruity kind.
Sorry they burned in the fire, sir.
That's no excuse.
Oh my God.
A burnt Tic Tac's the best one. So it's just perspective and empathy and all that kind of stuff isn't something you attain. It is a practice, and it goes away. And we all find ourselves drifting away from it, and then something happens and we get pulled back into it.
Yeah, I wonder, have you felt, because I'm nervous about that, just like how everybody was like showing up and flooding the GoFundMes or whatever. And like you're saying, like everything, people move on to the next thing eventually. This is going to be a long recovery.
Yeah.
Do you feel that it's still as intense?
No.
No.
No, I don't. I mean, I even asked if I would still get a discount somewhere, and they're like, "Oh, we stopped doing that a week ago."
That was really the sign, because when it first happened, you would walk into a store and tell people that you had lost your home, and they would give you this discount.
Like a 20% discount.
How long did that last? Was that 3 weeks?
That was like a few weeks. And then I went into a store. I'm not going to say which one, but I was like, "Hey, I lost my home in the fire. Do you guys have a discount?" And they're like, "Oh, we stopped doing that a week ago."
If anything, there's a surcharge.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. I know.
The sad thing is when it was a 99-cent store.
I know.
I want this scrunchie. Do you have a discount, ma'am?
I know.
It's 50 cents.
I think that there's still people, I mean, there's still the empathy there. It's still there. There's still some feeling of it, but it is waning a lot. It is very quick how quickly people kind of just move on.
To be fair, I would often go to a McDonald's and tell them, or a Cheesecake Factory, and tell them I had lost my home in a fire, even when I hadn't.
But you did it. You're taking my discount.
I know.
Oh,
and they would be like, "That sounds terrible." And I'd say, "So this McFlurry, what are we talking about here? Can I get 80 cents on the dollar?" And sometimes I'd put a little ash on my cheek.
No!
I did!
What?
I'm just telling you the real me. I always keep a little ash in your pocket.
God.
You can get a discount.
It's not like I had ash ever on my face.
Well, you fucked up.
Okay.
You'd be having a discount McFlurry right now. She had a little ash in your
Why
pocket.
didn't you work up your orphan angle
I
instead
tried
of the
that.
fire one?
There seems to be this consensus that I'm too old.
Okay.
Which I don't get, because I think I'm very well preserved for a man my age. Gee, I lost my parents. Do you have any soup? Sir, I saw you drive up in a Porsche. Yeah, but I don't have
cash poor.
I'm cash poor.
Asset rich.
I
What can I do?
I have a lot of land in Montana in vast holdings, but I can't access. Can I have some soup?
All my money's tied up in holdings.
It takes 24 hours to get the bank in Sweden to open up. All right. What's your name? Billy.
You're changing your name?
Yeah.
Billy does work better.
It's a better name for me. Or what's the name you were thinking of naming your son but didn't because Tom?
Mickey.
That's a good one. Mickey.
Yeah.
Mickey the orphan. Mickey the 61-year-old orphan.
It counts.
Who's done quite well.
It counts. It's so fucking dark.
It really is.
I'm
isn't
sorry,
it?
but my parents would laugh at it.
Well,
I can say that now because they're not here.
Yeah.
They would laugh at that. Like them in the afterlife. No, we wouldn't. You asshole. We never liked you. One of the things that makes me very happy for you is that I think it is a wonderful era for people who have what it takes, have ability, and have a work ethic. And you have all those things, and you're getting to do consistently this really cool work. And you have this project now, 0 Day, and I was looking at the cast.
Yeah,
this is on Netflix, and I'm like, I've had so many people sit in the chair that you're in, and people talk a lot about body dysmorphia and how people can think they look a certain way and they don't, and they hate on themselves. And I consistently believe that there's something called career dysmorphia that hasn't been diagnosed yet, and I'd like to invent that and submit that to the New England Journal of Medicine. But I've had Al Pacino. Al Pacino sat in that chair and talked so much about the huge chunks of his career that didn't work out, and how they didn't want him for The Godfather, and how he couldn't get a job in movies in the late 80s and thought he was through, and how he thinks all the bad reviews people told him about. And I kept wanting to cut him off and saying, "You're Al Pacino. You're the face of film for at least the 70s. You do iconic work in every decade. And you have it too." And I think it's just so funny to me that you would talk about, the fallow periods, and maybe I could do more if I got the word out on my chia seed recipe. And you're in 0 Day on Netflix. And your co-stars are Robert De Niro, Angela Bassett, Connie Britton, Jesse Plemons, and
Matthew Modine,
Yes,
Dan Stevens. It's Gabby Hoffman. It's the craziest cast of all
and
time.
it's not the best work I see now is limited series. Is our cinema.
And I like limited series too. I like watching them and doing them. It just feels like a very long movie.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't seen Zero Day. My dad died. I don't know if we mentioned that. So I haven't watched the screeners, which is bad because I do want to watch it.
How would that impact how you would? That's interesting. I'm trying to picture you watch yourself.
I hate it.
Yeah, I would imagine you would.
I don't always hate it, but I do want to watch this one because it's fairly dense and complex, and I want to be able to like talk about it. It's topical, a little like eerily topical.
Mm-hmm.
It's I hope people are in the mood to watch something that looks a lot like what's happening in reality, but is kind of this like horror show version of it. Very smart people made this show. Very smart people were in this show, and I don't know. It's ensemble enough that I think I could watch it without like hating the experience too much. But I think it's good. I mean, I had a great time doing it. It was surreal. You oftentimes like the don't meet your heroes thing rings very, very true. It didn't on this.
That's
like,
nice.
De Niro's like just a nice man. Just like a kind, generous man. And everybody just, I always think, so Leslie Linka Glatter, who directed all the episodes, and she did Homeland, and she's the president of the DGA. She's like a badass, incredible woman. She's done a bunch of movies. Like she's wonderful. And she directed every episode. And her vibe on set, because she did one episode of Masters of Sex in the first season. And I wanted her to like be our all the time director, but she was doing Homeland, so she didn't. She maintains this on-set energy that I don't even like. It's 6 months. It's 6 months to shoot this. Robert De Niro's never done a television show. I believe he didn't know what he was getting into in terms of like the time, like how much time it takes and like the hours. And he was in everything. But the first day of shooting on that, the crew is always in a good mood for everything on the first day. The last day, 6 months later, everybody was in as good of a mood. The vibes were so good. It was just like a job that felt important, but at the same time, right size in terms of like in your real life, like you'd go to work and you'd go home and these people didn't need to be like your best friends and you didn't need, it was just like, it felt very grown up, like adult, but also really fun.
Right.
I don't know. It was great. It was a great experience. And we honestly, I can't really, like during the strike, which was the last fun thing, just taking it back to like the doldrums again. We were supposed to start this June of last year, maybe? I don't know what year it is. Yeah, we were supposed to do like June to December, and that was the strike. And we ended up doing January to the next June. So it was a full year, and everybody stayed on board. Everybody was just as excited, and we knew we got to.
Which is rare, because usually that's when people say,
yeah. And
I got this play I'm going to go do in the West
there was
End.
nothing.
Yeah.
It was, and even just having that moment of like, well, everybody else or so many other people were really stressed out about what they were going to do and work and all of this, like knowing that Netflix is probably not going to shelve the Robert De Niro series.
Right,
like it just felt like we had a safety net at a time when there wasn't a lot of safety nets. And again, like if it's just the experience, which for me is truly the only part I like of this whole job, like it was a great experience and I think it's really good. And I think you should definitely watch it. America. So we can be
Which camera are you looking to?
America.
The American camera.
Okay, there we
Hey,
go.
America.
Okay, that's China.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's just make it the #1 show on Netflix till the next thing comes out on Netflix, America.
The last observation that I will make is, and I'm certain I'm right about this, as dire as things are right now, and this is my need to be optimistic, but I also think this is accurate. Let's say you could go back in time to what you would consider like the classic period of making entertainment, and it's like the 1930s or the 1940s. They would have watched you in Mean Girls, and they would have said, she's great, she's really funny. That's what she does, and that's what you would have done for the next 50 years of your career.
Mm-hmm.
And because we live in this different era, you were comedy person, and then Masters of Sex, and then, all this completely different work where you get to be, if it suits you to be funny, you can be the funniest person out there. If it suits you to be in 0 Day with Robert De Niro, and it's about a global cyber attack, and it's intense, but good, riveting work, you can do that. There's nothing you can't do in this era. Whereas they would have definitely put you in a slot.
Yeah.
And you would have been punished for being really good at one thing, and they never would have seen the other thing.
Yeah.
So
That's definitely
even if
true.
that means there's iPhones and other problems.
Why do you love Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos so much?
I just
That's
want
what
to
you're
say
trying to
they
say,
have,
right?
they have been on their yachts many times.
Oh, I bet you have.
You're a big yacht guy.
Big yacht guy.
Yeah, big yacht.
I know my
energy.
yachts.
You got big yacht energy.
I have
Mega yacht energy.
That's the only big energy I have. I have big yacht energy. No, I love a big yacht. I like being invited. I like being at the beck and call of a billionaire.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And then when they say, like, dance for us, I do a little something.
That makes more sense.
And then I get a
jig.
Krugerrand, a gold coin, in case anyone doesn't know what that is.
I also think that even like not in the 30s, like in recent times, they would typecast you and pigeonhole you. And now it's like it's very new to not have that happen, like in the past 20 years, maybe.
Right.
People think, oh, you can do more than one thing.
Right.
But a lot of people do find themselves like stuck in a lane, and it sucks.
I'm stuck doing one thing because that's what I can
That's
do.
not true, Conan. That's not true.
But I'm saying happily. I'm happily stuck in my lane.
You're not stuck in a lane, though, because I just read that you were incredible in your Sundance movie. Okay.
Yeah,
As
you're
a male
branching
gigolo.
out. This
Yeah.
orphan thing is working for you.
Yeah, that's how I got the part.
Yeah.
I'm an orphan.
Yeah, I'm an orphan.
Why am I getting smaller and squeakier as an orphan? But Lizzie, this was a lovely conversation.
This is so surreal. I feel like we're just starting it.
No, but this was...
There should have been more jokes.
You have dysmorphia.
There should have been laughter.
Well, we're going to put laughter over all the parts.
that's
We're
right.
gonna- When you talk about losing your dad,
Uh-huh.
when you talk about losing your dad and I talk about losing my parents, we're just going to pipe in laughter
Full
from the
studio
1940s.
That would
Yeah.
be amazing.
Yeah. I love Lucy laughs.
Yeah.
Nothing has changed. You've only today confirmed my feelings about you, Lizzie, which is you're one of my all-time favorite people. You are incredibly hyper, insanely talented, and you're a real person. And every time I see you, you're Lizzie Kaplan, and you're very wise, and just a delight to be with you. Thank
Thanks,
you
Conan.
very much. I'm going to say it, 0 Day, Netflix. If you're not watching it, you stupid.
Yeah, you're stupid.
Yeah.
Don't be stupid. Watch 0 Day.
Come on. Why isn't that going to
No,
be
that is the
tagline?
tagline. I mean, De Niro's been saying that on everything.
I was going to ask you, because I brought up Mean Girls. This was something that is, I think, kind of important to your story, which is you played this character who's now iconic, Janice Ian. There was a while where you felt like you needed to now change the trajectory after that. Is that true?
Yes, but that was honestly, it was such a different time.
Yeah.
It also feels, it's so strange. It almost feels like Mean Girls just came out like recently. For whatever reason, it's I've been talking to so many kids about Mean Girls. Like, and it came out so long ago now, and it's like it never really goes away, but it just feels like there's a weird resurgence.
I think Mean Girls is one of those films. It's a bit. There's a bunch, not a bunch. But they're few and far between. But it's like an L for something that's just going to keep getting rediscovered. And I think the nice thing is that what it's talking about and what it's portraying is something that 14, 15, 16-year-old girls are dealing with, and boys. That felt like a very good depiction of that very particular thing that so many kids feel. That I think when you're 80, they're going to be 16-year-olds that are talking to you about that.
I think that's probably true based on what's happening. And it's cool. I mean, I think I used to be like, I've done other things, like right after the years following. But now I'm like, I'm very proud to have been in that. And I just asked the kids, like, but how is this like this high school in Mean Girls doesn't look anything like your current high school. There's not like a social media element to any of this. Like what are you identifying with? And you're right. It's like, kids are mean to other kids. It's a beautiful universal truth.
It's emotionally resonant. But I also think the reason I bring it up is I thought when you went to Masters of Sex, that was because you had really carved out this very enviable niche in comedy, and then you take this big turn, which was worked amazingly well.
Yeah, I don't know how that happened.
That took a lot of, I would think, that's talk about a brave thing to do. I think that's a brave thing to do.
Oh, I think it was braver for them, honestly, to hire me because I hadn't done anything dramatic. But your previous question, the Mean Girls thing, I did feel like pigeonholed and typecast, but it's not like that for girls playing like the weird best friend anymore. Like the weird best friend gets to be the central character now.
Right. Now that's the star of the show.
Yeah. And it certainly was not that way. So yes, I tried to do everything to like go against that. And I got a spray tan and dyed my hair blonde and got on this WB show. I have a friend, actress Lindsay Sloan, and we met. We've been friends many, many years now, but we met in audition rooms for these WB shows. And we both are like brunette, like Jewish girls. And we wanted to get T-shirts made that said, "I am WB pretty." We'd always get these notes like, they're going in another direction. It's like blonde. We're like,
I could buy a wig.
Yeah. And like, I definitely did. I was like, I'm going to fool you into thinking, I guess I'm not Jewish or whatever was required.
I'm Dutch and I'm from Malibu.
I'm new here. Yeah. Then Masters of Sex, like that whole process was crazy. I think I only got that job because they weren't shockingly familiar with smash hit Party Down that like nobody in the world saw. So they just weren't aware, like the producers were not aware of me. And I just remember going out to drinks with them and just talking to them about how obsessed I was with this character. And then it was like the perfect time for me. I just really identified with her and what she was sort of doing and going through, this Virginia Johnson. And I had to do an audition, but the audition just in itself was amazing because they did like full hair and makeup. It was John Madden, the director, who's like an incredible director, like such a talent. And I did all the scenes. It was just the two of us in this room. We videotaped it, and not all the scenes. And
Wait a minute.
Yeah, this older white man. It's like just
where's
you and me and a camera.
Where's the camera? No, trust me, there's a camera.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, as I realize now that that's what it sounded like.
Yeah.
And then it was over, and I remember leaving and feeling like even if I don't get this role, that was so incredible. Like I don't get to do auditions like this for these dramatic roles. And I didn't think I could do any of this. I didn't think I could like pull this off in any way. And then they called me and said that they wanted me to do it. And I was like, can I go celebrate? I haven't wanted to celebrate in a while, anything. And they were like, just hold off a minute. And then that minute took like months and months and months for me to actually get the part. And my agents were like, you need to take this other job. You need to do this other thing. And for whatever reason, I was like, no, I have to the possibility of getting to do this is better than anything else. It's more of a, real job.
Right.
Which I don't know if I'd have the balls to do that now, but I knew that like if I got to do that, it would really change things for me. And it did. I now can do both of those things. And I have so many comedic actress friends who are more than capable of doing amazing, heavy-hitting, dramatic roles. They just don't get the shot at it.
Right.
So that's just luck. I don't know how that happened.
Well, now I want to find out why they were waiting so long.
Yeah. I mean, I did. There is. I know why. But you probably have to cut it out.
Well, up to you.
Maybe you could, disguise it in some way. Was there someone else in the mix?
There was a co-star who was not thrilled with the idea of me doing it.
Come on.
Okay.
Yes. Who was not Michael Sheen. It wasn't who ended up being the guy. Yeah, but I don't know any of the details of that at all. I just know that there was a lot of pushback.
Oh God, do you want me to cut that out?
Well, I don't know if anybody knows,
Yeah,
right?
it doesn't matter. No. And I say we keep it in. And also, when I told you before the podcast that we would take stuff out.
Yeah, you were lying.
I was lying.
Cool.
Yeah.
Sometimes we add stuff in.
Yeah.
Just be careful.
There's going to be a voice that doesn't sound anything like yours. It says, it was Michael Sheen.
Yeah.
Hey, we're blowing up on the internet. Yeah, but it's not true. It wasn't Michael Sheen. I know. But fuck it. We're blowing up.
Yeah, I don't think the Michael Sheen and Lizzie Kaplan gossip is going to blow up the internet. Maybe in
No, you don't understand.
I mean, yeah, it was a weird thing and a weird story, but it ended up working out, and it ended up working out wonderfully because it was Michael Sheen. Thank God.
I adore you. You're such a terrific comedic actress who can also do drama. You're so good at what you do, but also, and we won't get into specifics, but you are so smart about people. And you and I have had conversations where different people will come up or in the industry, whatever, and you are so incisive, not mean, just so incisive about human beings, what makes them tick, what you've noticed. And I always walk away and think like, this is an incredible person.
That's so nice.
No, it's true. I mean this 130%.
I believe you. Yeah. And that's like, I don't think anybody's ever said that to me. And I think it's the greatest compliment I've ever received. And I'm not even being like flippant about it. That's a great thing to have somebody
But it's
think
true.
about
I'm thinking specifically of different times people have come up and you'll say something and it's just, I feel like you have a bit of a superpower, not a bit of it is a superpower to be able to just see people for who they are in this business that's tricky. It's really tricky. And
Thanks, Conan.
Part of this journey of this podcast started with me just wanting to be very honest, if I could, talking to people who anyone else would envy and saying, yes, it is great. I am not complaining, but also it is very complicated. And there's a lot of strange people in this business. And there's a lot of our buttons get pushed. And I feel like that is something that you are aware of and you've handled it really well.
I do feel like I've been sort of positioned in just geographically positioned well, meaning I'm from LA. I have these friends that I grew up with. There's probably like 10 to 15 of us who have been friends since we were little kids, like 5 years old. And none of them do this. And I don't have to get on a plane to go see this group of friends. They're here in the city that I live in most of the time. And so I think that's been helpful. Like they don't care. And they genuinely don't care, but like in a loving way. Whereas some people say that they don't care. Like, okay, so going back to what you're saying, because of Thanksgiving, right? Just happened. And I was talking to Tom, and it's almost like if you do this for a living, what we do, it's like a family disease. Like the way that, tell me if you agree with this.
Okay.
So I'm with my family who are amazing and wonderful, but a lot of family friends, different people kind of come in and you get a lot of like, I don't know if it comes from like, I'm going to prove to you that I'm not impressed that you're an actress. I don't care that you're an actress. So I'm going to say mean shit to you all the time.
Yeah.
And you kind of just take it and it's fine. But like, it's always family, friends, or like some distant aunt that's like, I saw that show. It wasn't for me. I saw that. I liked the other thing you did. You're like, cool. I just spent 8 months of my life. I don't go to like your accountancy office and say like, you know what, you're doing just fine. I don't. And you sort of have to take these blows like all the time. And they're not a big deal, but also nobody wants to hear you complain about these mean things.
It's a tricky balancing act. We were talking on the podcast once to David Sedaris, and he was talking about this exact same phenomenon. And I said to him, I get this sense that there are people that need to tax you, meaning they apply a bit of a tax to you because they think in some way you need to pay them a little bit for your whatever success or perceived better life. You know, I don't know. And it's very complicated because it's so funny because people wouldn't do that in another situation. And I've actually said to people sometimes, it rarely happens, but the times when people are just being downright rude, I'll say to them, I do not expect you to treat me better than other people. I want it to be treated as well as you treat other people.
Totally.
And so the idea that, no, but I'm sure other people kiss your ass, so I'm gonna
That's it.
I'm gonna cross a crowded room and tell you, by the way, I never quite got it. You're like, wow, okay,
Totally.
that's impressive.
And you have it on a much different scale than I do. And I see also that it would be really annoying for, let's say, your family to have, your sibling have somebody's always trying to talk to your sibling about you.
Yeah.
That would suck. I wouldn't handle that well at all. But I also don't personally feel successful or famous or any of those things ever. I don't think that's the reality of my situation. And so when people occasionally like to kind of stick it to me, I'm like, I was just sitting here. Okay.
It is true. You do just sit around a lot.
A lot.
Most
here when we got here.
Every time I've bumped into Lizzie anywhere, she's just sitting.
Yeah, I
Sitting
enjoy
like on
it.
a rock or sitting on a bench.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what are you doing? She's just sitting here.
When you find a nice rock, you can pass up that opportunity. But yes, and then the dirty little secret is nobody wants to hear you complain. And, you shouldn't actually complain to many people about this. It's not a universal experience, but it is a weird thing where it becomes, and I see it with a lot of friends, or any little bits of success I've had, it just, you're up to level of isolation. And because nobody wants to hear you, let's make it about you, Conan.
Okay.
Nobody wants to hear you complain because you are very successful and you have a lot of money and whatever.
Oh, I lost a lot of it.
Oh, you used to have a lot of money.
I bought up an entire collection of, put all my money into Victorian pornography.
Ooh.
Yeah, which is not racy at all.
No, it's a lot of clothes.
Yeah.
A lot of ankles.
It's just a bare ankle here and there.
And I'm your only customer.
Yeah. And after you had bought $8,000 worth, you were cleaned out.
Yeah.
But no, but it's true. And I go through this all the time, which is I'm very clear with a lot of people. I chose my life. I've, had some ups and downs, but I'm the dictionary definition of very lucky in every way. My personal life, my work. I have absolutely nothing to complain about. And I would like that on my tombstone, which would be ironic because I'd be dead, which is a legitimate thing to complain about.
It is.
How about up until this point, I had nothing to complain about.
That's good.
Yeah, dot. Conan O'Brien, 1963, 2025. No, that gives me a little time.
I know, but I have to fix up my resume.
I gotta start looking for other work.
Come on, I know you guys are.
Do you want to start a podcast?
I would love to.
Okay,
I really like it here.
We're free.
Yeah,
Okay.
we could just keep the same space.
Yeah.
Okay,
Just
cool.
move from there to there.
Trust
and
me,
then that's it.
everyone would be very happy with that. I remember how much of my life, my childhood, was seeing, you on All in the Family and how that was a cultural event. You being on Johnny Orr, your films on SNL. You talked about it. It would happen it would happen, and then you'd all talk about it. My friends who were into comedy and I would talk about it in Brookline, Mass.
Well, think about this. Talk about appointment television. Saturday Night Live, when it first came on, that's a Saturday night. And you had to watch it when it was on, and it was it was on 11:30 and 11:30 and on the West Coast. Kids, young people in parties would stop whatever they were doing and watch Saturday Night, and that.
Also, we have to bring this up because it's in the doc, and it's something I did not know, which is that you were approached by Lorne
and Dick Ebersol.
Dick Ebersol, wonderful man.
Yeah, you have a great love for him, don't you? I know about
his knowledge of comedy is stunning.
Yeah.
Anyway, he's on the Rushmore. He's on Mount Rushmore. But anyway, those guys approached you about building SNL around you, and you said, and you said, I think that's a mistake.
Well, here's the thing. It's 50 years ago, and maybe Lauren has another memory of it, but it wasn't that complicated. In the fall of 1974, I went to a meeting, and they said, because that was Johnny Carson's rerun night, and they said, we're going to stop doing that. We're going to put an original show. We want to do it live from New York, and we'd like it to be Albert Brooks' show. You would be the host. Now, I had flirted with television twice before, and thank God, the way the life works, I didn't do it. One, about 2.5 years earlier, I got offered my own summer show on CBS, 6 shows. And I mean, it was going to be the Albert Brooks show. What kind of show will it be? I was, really starting to think. There were offices, we got offices. And then I was asked to, Carol Burnett, who was the big CBS star, was
Huge,
honored. Yeah. And I was asked to perform at the event, and I didn't have a lot of stuff. I had bits that I did from the road, one of which was on my album, Comedy -1, not to be confused with Godzilla -1. Somebody said, "Is that where you play part of a monster?" I said, I don't have any. Yeah. But so I performed at that, and I did this bit that I did on my record, where if you're a comedian and you're performing in the South and you're bombing, then you have that fail-safe, you dig deep and you come out and you pronounce it clearly and you somehow get out the word shit. And that turns everything around. They laugh for
This
20
kid's got
minutes.
it. Yeah.
I said, people run out, they build a statue in the park, And so basically it was shit saved my life. So the next day I get a call, and William Paley called my agency and said, this foul-mouthed young man will not appear on my network.
Yeah. Wow.
So I didn't do that.
Yeah.
So, and then earlier on, I was going to do a sitcom that I backed out of in a meeting that was already a go. Aaron Spelling was producing it. It was a whole season approved. And Michael Eisner, the last question, said, well, let me ask Albert, though, what do you see for this character in 5 years? And I said, suicide. and I stood up and I said, I'm not ready. This is not going to work. And I left, and the agents followed me into the elevator, and one of them said, you should wait. And the other said, I don't think he should do it. And so after those two, I was done with television. I wanted to make movies. So I wasn't going to do the Albert Brooks show, but I also thought that they were talking to somebody from Los Angeles. And when they said we're doing a live show at 11:30 in New York, to me, live meant nothing. It was no live. I didn't see anything that I wasn't supposed to see. If somebody in New York said a swear word, it was,
you mean like shit?
It was cut out long before I saw it. So I had a couple of thoughts. I said, well, wouldn't it make more sense? I mean, The Tonight Show, in essence, is live. They never stop. What if you did one at 4:30 and one at 7:30 and put the best together to air? But they wanted live, and obviously it worked. It was but I knew that I would be John Belushi. I'd be on 8 grams of Coke. I'm not good starting at 11:30. It's why I hated The Road. I never got that third show at midnight. It just didn't make sense to me. It was too late, too much. So I said, and I said, every show has the same host. You should use different hosts each week. So they said, okay, well, thanks for coming in. Then 4 months went by. They hadn't done anything yet. They came back to me. We want you associated with the show. What do you want to do? I said, I want to do short films. Yeah. So I made an agreement to do it. I did them here. And for that, in the spring of 75, Lorne and I did the national junket. In those days, they would take the Sheraton Universal, and every reporter would have a different room, and they'd set up the rooms so they could pretend you came to them.
Yes.
So you'd walk into a room, there'd be this fake palm tree. Albert Brooks, welcome to Fort Lauderdale. Thank you. Wow, it's sweaty out there. They loved if you played along.
Sure, yeah.
And it was the same interview. So you're going to make short films for a new show? I am. What's the show about? I don't really know. Here's the producer, ask Lorne. And he didn't know at that moment.
Mm-hmm.
What's the show about? Well, we're going to have the new kind of comedy, and it's going to be new and that. So then from that point, Lorne got his primetime players, and he built this show that has been the longest running show in television. So obviously he did it perfectly, but that's the way it went down.
I didn't want to embarrass you, but I'm going to embarrass you because the achievements, all the Emmys, Tonys, Grammys, 7 Golden Globes, Presidential Medal of Freedom. I was reading your achievements and I started to laugh because it's comedically amazing. I'm halfway through the list. Mark Twain Prize for American Humor, Screen Actors Guild Lifetime Achievement. There's a Golden Globe Award named after you. And what's interesting is I get the impression that doesn't affect you, that you're still Carol Burnett and you're going to give it your all, and you still have that humility and cheery optimism, but it hasn't gone to your head in any way. Because if I had one of those, I'd be an absolute madman.
No, I don't know. I'm just grateful. That's all.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you about Lucille Ball because obviously growing up, even though the show had long been gone, it was running constantly in reruns. I Love Lucy, and that was the format for the modern sitcom that has endured for 50, 60 years. And I know that she was very kind to you. She saw you as, hey, this kid has something. I like her. How did she reach out to you?
Well,
or how'd you meet her?
I was doing the off-Broadway show called Once Upon a Mattress.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And we had just opened the night before, and the second night, there was a lot of buzz I could hear in the audience, and Lucy was in the audience the second night. I remember I peeked through the curtain, and I saw this big shock of red hair, and there she was. I was more nervous that night than I was opening night, the night before, because she was in the audience.
Yeah.
Anyway, it went okay, and I had this funky little dressing room off-Broadway. She knocked on the door after the show and came in, and I had this couch, and it had a spring coming up. And she was going to say, I said, look out. She said, I see it.
Is it my first rodeo?
Anyway, we visited for about a half hour, and she called me kid because she was 22 years older.
Right.
She said, if you ever need me for anything, give me a call. So about 4 or 5 years later, I did a few things, and then CBS was going to give me a special, a 1-hour variety thing, if I could get a major guest star. So the producer said, call Lucy. And I said, I don't want to bother her. He said, well, all she can do is say, I'd love to, but I can't. I'm busy. Got her on the phone, called her office. She came up. Hey, kid, you're doing great. What's happening? I was just I said, "Oh, Lucy, I know you're busy." She said, "When do you want me?" And we did the show together. So then when I got my variety show, and then I did several guest appearances on her later shows.
Yes.
The Lucille Ball show, and when she played Lucy Carmichael.
That's right.
All
with
of that.
Gail Gordon.
Right.
Yep.
Right. And then when I got my show, she came on. So we kind of traded on and off. And so, oh, wow. This one time, she's on my show, and we have a dinner break before the orchestra rehearsal. So she and I went over to the farmer's market to have a little, so we were in the Chinese restaurant there. And she's knocking back a couple of whiskey sours.
Please tell me it's the morning.
No, it was a nighttime. So,
Okay.
So at that time, of course, my husband, Joe Hamilton, was producing our show. And so she now was not with Desi. She said, Kid, it's great that you got Joe, to handle a lot of stuff for you, because when I was married to the Cuban,
like he's a cigar.
He did everything. Desi did everything. Yeah. He took care of the scripts. He took care of the lighting, the camera work. He's the one who invented the 3 cameras.
Yes. Yeah. Genius.
And, yeah. And so she said, when I came into the Monday morning, the table read, everything was perfect because he had seen to it. And all I had to do is be crazy Lucy, fine. So then we got a divorce. Now I'm going to do the Lucy Karma, whatever it was. Mm-hmm. And I came in, no Desi, and we read the script, and she said, it was awful. Kid, it stank. Mm-hmm. And she said, and I thought, oh, God, what am I going to do? Desi's not here. He did it. She called me for lunch, and she said, she went back to her office. She said, I've got to be strong.
Yeah.
I got to confront this the way Desi would have. She said, so I knew what I had to do. Went back to the table read, and I told them in no uncertain terms how I felt about the script, how we had to fix it. She said, kid, and she took another, and that's when they put the S on the end of my last name.
Now, she sent you, I think, flowers every day on your birthday.
On my birthday, and this one birthday, I got up in the morning and turned on the Today Show, and she had passed away on my birthday. And that afternoon, I got flowers that said, happy birthday, kid.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. So we had a great bond.
Sometimes there's these little accidents of fate that come up in my life. You have those deja vu moments, or there's something in the air. Yesterday, my wife has no idea that you're coming on the show, none at all. And we're trying to think of a funny, really great funny movie to show my son, and who's 16. And we're constantly trying to think of, you've probably had this where you want to watch a good movie, you want to show someone a good movie, and you're faced with all the movies in the world, and you're trying to think of what's the funny one. And my wife and I we've shown him so many good movies, and then my wife, out of the blue, just said, Bottle Rocket. Huh. And I was like, yeah, Bottle Rocket. And then I said, I'm talking to Luke tomorrow. And she was like, on the podcast? And I said, no, I'm just going to his house to talk to him through his window. I was a real wise ass, which I don't often do with my wife. And I'm like, no, I'm going to go to his house and talk to him through his window. And she was like, fuck off. And I said, I want a divorce. And so that's ending. But we brought up Bottle Rocket yesterday, and then I realized that's the first time I heard of you, Owen, Wes, Anderson, was I think in, it would have been 96 or 95, when my late night show was still really new. There was this movie everyone was talking about, Bottle Rocket, and that's kind of, I mean, I knew you guys were making shorts before that, but this was your first.
Yeah, that was the first movie we made, Bottle Rocket. And yeah, I think we might have made it in about 94, 95, and then they wanted to sit on it for a year because they could feel that it was such a groundbreaking film and it was really going to take the town by storm. But no, I think it wound up coming out in about 97. But yeah, that would have been when I first met you.
Yeah, and I know that I wasn't sure. Did you come on the show then for Bottle Rocket? I know that Owen did, and I remember thinking, does this guy have a brother I would prefer?
Is there an alternate?
Is there a younger, preferable brother? And sure enough, because you ended up, you and I, you've been on the show a lot, and I've always clicked with you, but that's the first time I saw you guys, which was in that movie, which I really loved. And then another thing that's been in the atmosphere lately is James Caan just passed, and he's in that movie, and he's terrific. Because I saw him, I mean, how amazing that you're these two young guys, these punks who make this movie, and you got the great James Caan to be in it.
Yeah, he was so great on that movie, and I think probably what got him into it was the fact that James L. Brooks was producing it.
Right.
Because it was Wes Anderson, and then Owen and Andrew and myself. And I think he probably would have just done it on the strength of James L. Brooks. I don't know that, the script maybe would have appealed to him that much, but he couldn't have been nicer. I actually went to the in Santa Monica, they were showing The Wild Bunch last night on 70 millimeter, and went to see it. And a guy named Paul Sedor, like a Peckinpah scholar and writer, gave a little speech before it, but he mentioned James Caan and David Werner and two other guys from kind of the Peckinpah stable.
Right.
And then he had a little moment of silence for those guys, which was really nice. He had it in the movie theater. And but yeah, James Caan, he was El Dorado has been on lately, and just incredible to think that guy would have been connected back to Robert Mitchum and John Wayne. And he couldn't have been nicer to us on the movie. I think there were definitely, when he died, I was kind of talking with Owen about it, just saying those first couple of days, you could definitely see in his eyes, like, okay, well, what am I doing here? I'm in a trailer in a parking lot in Dallas. These guys are very odd. But then he really kind of warmed up to us. It was one of those people that was really fun to talk to about different movies he'd worked on. We were asking him about Brando, and he was like, "Yeah, Brando. It was like you guys with me." And that really was kind of how we were.
Isn't that crazy when just someone like that can drop a name like Brando and then somehow liken it to you, and you think, no. Yeah. I mean, but it's just so amazing to be, because I know you guys are incredible film buffs.
Yeah.
You and your brother, just like really, as kids, growing up in Dallas, you were really into film, right?
Yeah, really into movies. And I got to be friends with Harry Dean Stanton over the years and got to work with him a couple times. And Harry Dean was one of those guys, wouldn't text, so you'd have to call him and call and have these kind of funny, long conversations. And then he'd click off and take a call. And a couple times he'd click back over and say, "I gotta go, that's Marlon."
Oh my God!
Yeah, so
isn't that crazy?
Yeah, just unbelievable. And then those guys would chat about how they were both nothing and nothing mattered.
Yeah, no, it's just I was at a party once, and I'm a huge Beatles fanatic, and Paul McCartney's there, and I walk into a room, and he's there playing a guitar, but he's playing it because he's left-handed. He's playing it upside down and backwards because it's strung for a righty. And I just said, wow, I don't know how you do that. And he's like, oh, when I was growing up in Liverpool, I'd nick John's guitar, and if I had, and I'd play it this way, it was the only way I could because I'm a lefty. But if I had restrung it, he'd have crippled me. And I'm like, you can't just talk about John like that. That's, you know what I mean? It's the same thing. Like, well, Brando's on the line, I got to go. And then I just think I'm not in this reality.
Well, it is incredible to me, and I think about it now when people like James Caan die, is that, we're kind of the same age, but we're lucky enough to know people like that, from, the 50s and stuff like that.
Oh my God, I think about that all the time.
And then to think that, Paul, the kind of the first generation, or maybe the second generation of rock and roll.
Mm-hmm.
Just that, these guys who really were pioneers, so pretty incredible the chance you get to talk to somebody
anytime
like that.
I'm even in the room, even I don't get to talk to them, if I'm just in the room on our late night show once we had Scotty Moore was on, who was Elvis's original guitarist, and he's in the room in Sun Session at Sun Studios when they just accidentally are messing around and they cut That's All Right Mama, and he's with Bill Black, and it's part of the original lineup. And he was on the show, and he was messing around with the band, and I just said, excuse me, Mr. Moore, could you show me how you play the solo in That's All Right Mama? Boom, 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 wank, 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 wanna, boom, 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 boom. And he said, oh, yeah, sure. It goes like this. And he does it, and his hands are doing the same thing they did in 1954 when he and this very strange kid changed the world. Truck driver. Changed the world. Yeah. And I always have the same feeling, which is I don't deserve to be here seeing this, It's just an immediate, but then I think, well, just be here. Shut up. Take those negative thoughts away and just be here.
Yeah, I got to one time know the guy, Steve Wertheimer, that runs the Continental Club in Austin, that little tiny kind of famous blues club. And I'd run into him, and he'd said that James Burton was going to be doing a little sound check one afternoon. So I got to go listen to like an hour and a half sound check. And it was just kind of the same thing to think about. He was kind of the next iteration of Scotty Moore.
Yeah, he's Elvis's guitar player in the sort of the Vegas years.
Right, and then played with Ricky Nelson and all those guys. And, and did you read the Guralnick book about Sam Phillips? You must have read that.
Yes, I did.
And in fact, I saw you do that great interview with you and Peter Guralnick, where you were so funny. You were like kind of an incorrigible student, where you were like, you started kidding around about something, but he wouldn't quite start laughing. He was like, yeah, well, yes, Conan, let's stay on the subject here.
I've never been able to stay on the subject.
You kind of kept going at it and going at it. But,
yeah. So you saw me fail.
Well, no. You didn't fail in your knowledge. Maybe just you got a little immature for Peter, I think.
I think I did.
He just kind of rode it out.
He's such a great... Yeah, that happens sometimes where I can, sometimes Peter Guralnick is just one of the great scholars of rock and roll of all time, an amazing writer, and just one of those people that's elevated rock and roll to, great writers should be writing about rock and roll and blues. And so he's just a genius. And I was interviewing him. And then, of course, my natural Conan came out. And he just had to forge ahead.
he really did. You could see it kind of physically kind of hit him in the interview. And it just kind of go through his body like kind of an electric shock. May I quickly go to the restroom?
Yes, you may.
Thanks.
But you have to come back.
Yeah, I will.
We're going to talk about you while you're gone. It's right in there. This has never happened. This is a first.
Really?
Yeah. No. Go for it. Yeah. Don't worry.
There are marks in there, though.
Keep rolling on this, and I don't want you editing this out. This is a first,
I would never do that.
I think you would be a great wingman for him. I'm sorry I didn't back you up, but
no, I think I would be a good wingman.
I know you'd be a great wingman. Get in there.
Oh no!
Is that what's a wingman?
No,
what's a wingman?
Wingman is not someone who follows you into the bathroom and watches you urinate. First of all, can we agree that this is a first, maybe in podcast history, that someone has left the studio to go urinate?
I've done it.
You don't have to specify.
But what I'm saying is that this is historic, and he has left, and now we can talk about him. Right. We should take advantage of this. I do think I'd be a great wingman.
There's the flush. Hurry.
I do wonder if he really is going to want to have dinner with me. Do you think he really does want to?
No, I think he just said that to be nice.
And it's not because he doesn't want to. I think we're both too shy.
I think he doesn't want to.
Okay, he's coming back.
I think he'll slouch.
But I think this was a good opportunity for us to get that out. Hey, Luke.
Did you guys stay live?
Yeah, we did. This is going out. This is live. Did you know that? This is going
Very
out
relaxing
all around
in the bathroom, by the way.
Oh. Could you hear us? Are they piping it in?
Not.
Oh, good. Could hear you. That was a lot of urine.
A lot of just like, okay.
Feels good.
Okay. It is quiet in here. This is nice.
Yeah.
This is nice. I wonder how long I've been in there.
You were gone for 40 minutes.
I wonder how long I've been in here.
Luke, the consensus when you were gone was A, I would be a good wingman. Sona said that. B, that they don't think this dinner is going to happen because they think we're both too shy. They don't think it's because you don't want to have it happen.
That's what I think.
But that we're not going to be able to,
Interesting.
consummate this dinner.
Well, I mean, we live in the same neighborhood. That helps.
I think so. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So it's, already you eliminate the 405. That's killed a lot of relationships. Right? At least it has in my life.
One of my children went to school past the 405, and I haven't seen him since. So, I mean, it's destroyed families more than the Civil War was the 405 freeway. Seriously,
No, I think we're going to do it. You've just got you're a busy guy. I mean, I can do it any time.
What are you talking about? You're a busy guy.
Spit the ball in your court.
I can do it at the drop of a hat.
Okay, we're going to do it. You and I are going to get dinner in the next 2 weeks.
Great.
That's what's going to happen.
Wow.
Great.
And I'm going to podcast from the dinner.
Hi, my name is Malcolm Gladwell. Well, I didn't think about this. I feel, well, I have mixed feelings about being Conan
Now,
O'Brien's friend.
wait a minute. Why would you say that? I'm a huge admirer of your work.
No, I like that. No. I mean that. This requires some. Can I do a long explanation
Yes.
of why I have?
Yes, but don't. Is it going to be another book?
No. Short. And I hope you take this in the right spirit.
Okay.
I walk in and you come and say hello to me, and I see the famous hair, and I feel like you, for your entire career, had been the king of the flamboyant hair club. You've been and I'm someone who has flamboyant hair.
Yes.
All of us have looked towards you.
Thank you.
As a kind of leader in the flamboyant hair.
Thank you.
And I look, and it's not that flamboyant today.
No.
And I felt a little let down. I was like, here I was to get a kind of dose, a kind of feeling that I'm on the right track, that when I let the whole fro thing go crazy, there's someone else out there doing it from the Irish perspective. And
yeah, I have an Irish fro.
You do.
That's what it's called.
But those famous, it's just kind of.
I'll tell you exactly what's going on.
What's going on?
And again, this could be a book for you, Malcolm Gladwell. This could be a book, but unintended consequences. You write about all these kinds of things. You know, what's really happening behind a phenomenon that we all take for granted. What's really happening? My hair is very susceptible to the weather, and there needs to be some moisture in the air. And I'm really not kidding. My hair is a barometer. So when I'm in places like Seattle, Boston, where I'm from, when there's some humidity in the air, my hair is absolutely fantastic.
It's on fire.
It's big and springy, and it shoots out. And then so moisture in the air is the Viagra for my pompadour.
Yes.
I'm sorry, but I'm trying to use a medical terminology.
Are you insinuating that you have thousands upon thousands of tiny little erections growing out of your head?
You have to say little, but sure. But what I'm saying is today it's been very dry. And I'm noticing lately, I get up in the morning and my hands are like scales and my hair is just collapsed onto my head.
Yeah.
And I could have done artificial things to pump up my hair this morning, but I didn't want to do that.
What artificial things?
What do you mean?
Does that mean?
Various chemicals and balms. But I didn't want to do that.
Yeah.
Malcolm, I didn't want to be fake with you. So I come in and I could see your face.
Sense my disappointment.
Since you said shit, I'm unhappy out loud.
I did. No, I wouldn't say I'm only. I should say I'm. My feelings of disappointment they're moderate. I'm not.
Wow, for me that's pretty good.
Yeah, no, it's just a little.
I'll take that.
It's just I came all pumped up.
Yep.
Because, like I said, in every generation has a kind of flamboyant hair leader. Einstein in his day.
Thank you.
Angela Davis in the 60s, right?
Yep.
We can go down the list. There's always someone, those of us who are trying to do something with our hair look towards.
I took a stand. My hair has never been the popular hairstyle. It basically is the Bob's Big Boy. It is, it's a combination of Elvis. It's the, star of Hawaii Five-0, Steve McGarrett.
Yes, little Steve McGarrett. There was a lot of influences to my hair. It's got some rockabilly to it. And I let you down, and I apologize. Yeah, no,
and you're going to really admire, this is a professional level segue. You did not let me down because you've written another fantastic book, Revenge of the Tipping Point, where you revisit.
You're really anxious to change the subject from your hair, aren't you?
Well, because it's coming from a place of disappointment. And we're going to talk about the Revenge of the Tipping Point in just a second. But I wanted to start with something else that I just happen to know about your own life, which is that you're now in the world of being a parent.
I am.
And what fascinates me is that I'm obviously very impressed and intrigued by the way your brain works, and to be honest, somewhat intimidated. And then I come in today thinking, that's one area where I've got 21-year head start on Malcolm Gladwell.
You do.
What was that?
You do. No.
I do.
No,
and I feel like, yes. And not only you guys as well. we can kick this guy around
Yeah.
with our knowledge of parenthood.
Yeah, we're better.
Yeah.
No?
Sona,
No?
you took it too far.
Oh, I'm sorry.
But
I'm the newbie.
no, but you're such an original thinker. But before we even get into the book, part of me wanted to say, hey, what's your take on parenthood? Because I bet it's fairly original and unique.
No. In fact, the exact opposite. And the thing I realized really early was that every observation I had about my children, every other parent in the history of parenting had already had about their children. So my entire life, I had been burdened by the obligation of originality. The burden has now been lifted. And as a parent, I am free to say the most banal thing about my kids.
Great.
And everyone's like, oh yeah, that no one has ever said when because I've turned into the person I once despised. All I do is show people pictures.
Yeah.
Nonstop.
Yeah.
And by the way, in fact.
Oh, let me see.
There they are.
Oh my God. Beautiful. Look.
Adorable.
Oh my God.
Adorable.
Oh,
Adorable.
so
Okay.
cute.
Yeah, very, very cute. We could go on. I could sidetrack this whole thing. But no one has ever said when I make my observations, no. They always say, yeah, that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you know what's funny? I bet, like, oh, here's Malcolm Gladwell. Let's ask him about being a parent. You know, we're going to get this. And then you say, it makes you really tired. And people are like, what? What? This from Malcolm Gladwell? It can be challenging at times. It's rewarding, but also...
None of those things. None of those things. But I do like, it's the secret club. You know, before you have kids, you're not a member of the club. And then you join the club, and it's like you get a whole new lease on life.
I had one thing that maybe I've said it to you guys, to Matt and Sona, but I try very hard not to tell first-time expecting parents any kind of, all right, let me tell you, sit, have a seat, and let me spin some wisdom for you. I always try and tell them it's like trying to explain to someone who's never been immersed in water what that feels like. It is such a profound change in your life that you just need to go through it, and then you're going to look at me and nod.
Yeah.
But to try and sit and explain, the only way for someone to understand what it's like to be in a body of water is to jump in a body of water. And until you've done that, the greatest writers in the world cannot explain to you what that feels like.
Yeah.
And so you just have to go through it. The only advice I ever give is lots of video, because when they're 10, 15, 20 years from now, you are going to look at all of it over and over and over again.
Video that I'm taking of them. I thought you meant video that I'm showing them. Like
lots of screen time. Just set them in front of an iPad.
I thought you were just saying.
Oh, no. You got it exactly. Specifically, VHS video. I think it should be all movies from the 80s and late 70s.
Lots of murder.
Yeah. And just they should be... it'd be funny if that was my advice.
You know what?
Lots of screen time and high fructose corn syrup.
I've noticed that there's a chapter of this book that you have not mentioned at all.
Which is?
For reasons that I think will become obvious.
Okay.
It's the chapter where I attack Harvard University, your alma mater.
I'm all in favor of attacking Harvard University.
There is an extended assault.
I wasn't hiding from that chapter. There's so much to talk about, but you talk about how it starts with Harvard has a women's rugby team.
Yeah.
And you basically say, why? Why? And you go ahead. You take it. And by the way, I was on the women's rugby team. I got a scholar. That's how I got my scholarship.
You should. First of all, I should say parenthetically that no one spends more time attacking the Ivy League than me. That's why God put me on this earth. I feel that's my.
Yeah.
I've done it so many times on my podcast that whenever I come up with my new attack, which I do every year, everyone just in the room just rolls their eyes. We could do a whole put Malcolm on the couch. Why is he so obsessed with him? But put that aside. The particular argument here is based on, I'm trying to figure out Harvard University, where you attended, is...
I can't hide from that anymore.
You can't hide from that anymore.
1981 to 85.
Yeah. They plays more Division I sports than any other college in the country. No one else is even close. People don't realize this. You always think the big sports school is like Clemson or something. No. It's Harvard. They have more student athletes than anyone else. And not only that, they give a massive admissions preference to their recruited athletes. So the easiest way to get into Harvard is not to be the best student in your class. It's to be the best athlete in your class.
But also very specific athletic endeavors.
Yeah. So the sports they really, 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 really care about are, and let's see whether you can detect some kind of common denominator, rowing, fencing, sailing, rugby, tennis. It's country club sports, right? So I do a whole chapter on why would they bend over backwards to participate in all of these country club sports, and not only that, to give basically to do an affirmative action program for the athletes in the sports. And the answer is because they, a sport like tennis, to be a recruited tennis player, you have to play Division I tennis. To play Division I tennis, your parents have to be willing to spend $50 to $100,000 a year.
It's
in your
enormously
game.
expensive.
Enormously expensive. So when I say I'm setting aside 4 admission slots every year for tennis players, what I'm really saying is I'm setting aside 4 admission slots for the children of people who have enough money to spend $100,000 on their kids' groundstrokes. So it's a way of making sure that enough rich kids attend your school. It's really obvious.
Yeah.
Right? And this drives me crazy because I'm someone who believes very strongly in the idea of a meritocracy. And if you want to have, and I think it's one of the most beautiful things about this country, and the idea that the symbol of the reigning symbol of meritocracy in this country is essentially going out of its way to reward kids who play rich kids sport. Like they give an admissions preference for kids who are good at sailing. Like it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
Well, maybe they're going to grow up to be fishermen, lobstermen. They're going to probably go to sea and explore the oceans. I think most of those kids are going to end up, right, hauling crab.
Yeah.
That's right.
That's why they're doing it.
Yeah, I think so. Well, there's another, okay, this brings up another point, which is that, because when I read that, I thought, shit, I should have done some fencing. I worked way too hard in high school.
That would have been much easier.
Yeah, I should have been a champion beekeeper. But the bigger point is that people can eventually game anything. That's the way I feel about it, is that because the other point is, okay, let's set all the rich kids who are playing those sports aside and say, okay, we really want it to be a meritocracy, so we're going to have it be about the SAT. Mm-hmm. People can game that because parents hire SAT tutors. There's billions of dollars spent a year making sure that kids are very familiar with that test. I think it still does test people who are. But what I'm saying is that no matter what you do, we've seen this on Wall Street a million times. You set up these rules, someone will find a small crack. Someone will say, hey, wait a minute, no one ever said anything about mortgage-backed securities. Bang!
Yeah.
Everybody's doing it, and then the whole system collapses, and we wonder, wait a minute, why did that guy who works on a garbage truck own 9 properties? What is going on?
I once, speaking of the SAT, I once challenged my assistant to the LSAT. She was, I thought, really fun. I got a tutor. Yep. I went through that whole process. And the hilarious thing, of course, about the tutor was the first thing he said is I had to learn to, quote, process without understanding, which...
What?
Meaning, which I thought was hilarious because it's a test designed to measure your aptitude for being a lawyer. Mm-hmm. And the test for being a lawyer you can only do well as if you learn how to process without understanding. If my lawyer came to me and said, I processed your case without understanding it, I think I'd be a little bit alarmed.
Yeah.
But so that it was like, it
sounds like a good lawyer, though.
Yeah.
And I have a lot to say about The Little Mermaid. That's not contract law.
No, but it does. I never, because in Canada we don't have. I'm Canadian. We don't have standardized tests. So I knew nothing about these. I would come. I moved to America after college, and I hear people talk about the SAT, and it sounds like some kind of strange holy rite, And I was so kind of curious that at a certain point in my life, I decided I had to do. And I went. I sat in that big room with hundreds of other people. I was the only person over the age of like 25, and I ended up tying my assistant.
Oh, okay.
Which I thought was good. The money was on her because she's 24, and the general consensus around the office is I didn't stand a chance because I've obviously lost so many brain cells.
Yeah.
So it was like,
what was your score?
I don't remember. It was not impressive. Basically, I was headed for a mediocre law school, which that's fine. Someone's got to be.
Well, here's the other thing too. I mean, I've said this to everybody I've ever encountered in this business is that I have had the privilege of working with so many talented, amazing, funny people who are great at what they do. And often I don't know where they went to college.
Yeah.
Because the amount of pressure we put on that in this country is insane.
Yeah.
And you talk a lot about resilience and people who are not from a monoculture, but people who are forced to be resilient and the great benefits that has. And I don't know, I'm always...
I thought you were going to tell us your SAT score. I thought that's where you were headed.
I intentionally forgot my SAT score. I selected which brain cells I could forget, and I forgot those. You talk about will and grace.
Oh, yeah.
And there were these very perceived rules about if you're going to talk about homosexuality or gay couples on a television, here are the rules. And there was this way in which that it has to be done responsibly, and Will and Grace didn't follow any of those rules.
Yeah, so this is all this work of, I've ran across this really wonderful TV scholar named Bonnie Dow, who does this analysis of the way that Hollywood talked about, first she starts with the way that Hollywood talked about women's issues. Mm-hmm. So remember that wave of kind of feminist shows starting in the 70s, Mary Tyler Moore Show,
right.
Rhoda,
Alice,
Cagney and Lacey. Is that? Yes, I think that's part of that.
Yeah.
And she points out that you would think watching those that those were shows that were kind of pro women's liberation or whatever, feminist, but they follow an implicit set of rules about how a woman is allowed to proceed. She says that in every case, the women was only allowed to succeed if she was succeeding in a man's world, and all of those heroes were childless and not in a relationship. So the real message of those shows were, yes, you can get ahead if you're a woman, but only if you give up any chance of having a family.
Right. There's no domesticity.
There's no domesticity.
Yeah.
So it's not really, are those shows pro-feminist, or when you watch them, do you think, oh, wow, that's the price I have to pay if I want to participate? Then she says there's a similar set of rules about the way Hollywood dealt with gay topics. And the rule was homosexuality was always a problem to be solved. In other words, the plot surrounding the gay person had to turn on the fact that everyone else in that person's life was trying to fix all of the crisis that had been caused by this person's sexuality. The gay character was only ever seen in isolation. So they didn't have a community. They didn't have, they weren't in a relationship. They were just off by themselves. It was like the typical one would be, you find out your 16-year-old son is gay, right? And so the whole family is left to deal with this intense problem. Another rule was no sex. So you can't ever see what this thing is about. It's always an abstraction. And and then the last one was that the gay character cannot be the center of the narrative. They have to be peripheral to the narrative. The narrative is about it. So you add these up, and you could watch a made-for-TV movie that might be on its face, might be quite sensitive and sympathetic to the gay character, but all of these rules are telling the audience that this guy's off in the margins. He's on the fringes. He's incapable of participating fully in modern life, right? So, and there's a wonderful book. This film scholar does a book where he looks at every single film from 1940 to 1975 that had, or 1980 that had a gay character, and he just shows like every single one of them meets a bad end. They either are killed, commit suicide, end up in prison, or like every single one. There's like 48 characters, and like every one of them. And what happens with Will and Grace is that Will and Grace comes along and breaks every one of those rules. So Will's gayness is not a problem to be solved, right? Never. It's never perceived to be a problem. He's not seen in isolation.
It's Will and Grace, so he's number one on the call sheet. He's not peripheral.
He's not peripheral.
Yeah.
He has Jack, and he has boyfriends. He's part of a community. Go on and on and on. He's a center of the show. He's not. And the effect of that. So if you're someone who's watched TV your whole life, and all you've seen is gay characters in this very specific context where there's something deeply problematic about them, and all of a sudden you're exposed to a show where there's a gay character and there's nothing. I mean, he has problems, but they're not problems related to his sexuality. He's just another neurotic.
He's like the rest of us.
Yeah, like the rest
He's
of
got
us.
problems. We all have,
Living in an apartment in New York, which is what all sitcoms were about in those years, right?
Right.
So there's something with that show that kind of that is a revolutionary show. It completely rewrites the rules. I think if it's always a fun experiment to say what are the 5 most important television shows of the last 50 years, and I think Will and Grace is like, I would put it, I don't know, second, third. I think it's. I think it's ahead of Archie Bunker. I think it's. They always say 60 Minutes is 1, and like
I usually get 3. I'm usually 3.
Your show?
Late Night with Conan O'Brien is usually 3.
Huh.
Yeah.
Are we in the real world or in my reality?
Yeah.
Because I like my reality. And in my reality, I think Mermaid is perfect. Little Mermaid.
I should not have laughed so heartily at your suggestion. No, Conan,
I don't know what
sure
you find so funny. I'm always like 3 or 4, but I know what you're saying.
I think you're top 10.
Yeah, thank you.